Okay, so I think we're live. Let's see here. It's 1:13 a.m. in the morning. It is 12:28. And we're live. Let's see. Let me get rid of this here. Very good. All right, so let's see here. We got Miranda Lee is in here. Good to see Miranda Lee. Good to see Paula. Good to see Mino Dino's in here. Awesome. Good to see Mino Dino. Let's see here. Um, Leslie and Billy's in here. Good to see Leslie and Billy. We got Nicole in here. Good to see Nicole. Um, Biggie Fish is back. It's good to see Big Fish. Good to see Lisa Joe. Always good to see Carol in here. Good to see everybody. Tracy's in here. Good to see Tracy. Where's Tracy? Right here. There she is. Okay, good. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to everyone for all of the wonderful, caring emails and comments and stuff like that. Really appreciate it. It was a pretty crappy couple of weeks here. What turned out to be as harmless as a rhinovirus turned into like the most hellish pneumonia ever. It was just so awful. But she's home now. My daughter's home now. After 2 hospitals, numerous amounts of doctors, and draining fluid. She seems to be doing much better now. She's on, I think it's not amoxicillin. I always forget the name of it, but she's on antibiotics for a couple of weeks, and well, she's got to follow up next week, I think. But she's doing better now. Doesn't have a fever, so that's the good news. Sick pneumonia. Yeah, it was. They should have caught it early. I guess that's what the problem was, and then it turned into being a much more catastrophic than it was. So, anyways, it's over now. I don't, it's all good. Christmas is over. Thank the Lord. It's one thing we wanted to do is be home for Christmas. I guess. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, she's doing much better now. But anyways, we got True Crime Weekly again here going on here. It's good to see everybody. It's always good to be here. You guys are like family to me, so it's always good to see you guys. I hope I'm not butting into Shibby's live. I know he's live right now too. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. Good to see Mino Dino in here. All right, we're going to get into the true crime cases of the week. I'm going to play my intro. Will be back shortly, but it's always good to see you guys. It's much better to be here. Literally been watching football all day, so let me play my intro, and I'll be back shortly. We'll get going with some of the cases that have been going on for the past couple of weeks here. All right, let me play my intro, and I'll be right back. Good to see you guys. Cheers. Good to see Mustang in here. Mustang's in here. Good to see V in here. Becky B33 is here. Good to see you. Good to see V in here. I was just talking. That's so funny. Hope I'm not bouncing into the Shibby's live, but Hope he's doing well. Hope everybody's doing well. It's always good to see everybody. Like I said, let's see here. We got about 3 weeks to catch up on, right? Or is it 2 weeks? Good to see everybody in here. Like I said, hope everybody's well. The weather here has been awful. And it's going to get awful again tomorrow night. But anyways, let's go into this first case here because this Barbara Hall is here. Good to see Barbara Hall. Barbara's in here. Hi, Barbara. How are you? Good to see you. Yep. Hope everybody had a great holiday, great Christmas. It was great here. Very, very good here. But let's. I want to play this first here because this is going on at this moment here. Well, not this moment here, but this is a missing persons case out of. I think this is. Hold on a second. Texas. So this came on my feed here a little while ago. Apparently, there's a clear Amber Alert that was issued for this missing teen last seen Christmas Eve. So a Texas teen who has been missing since early Wednesday was last seen leaving her home that morning. So early Wednesday morning. Did I read that right? Texas teen who has been missing since early Wednesday was last seen leaving her home that morning. And this, like I said, this is coming out of Texas. So let's see what's going on here.
It's a mother's worst nightmare.
It's stressful.
Maribel Mendoza's daughter, Camila Mendoza Olmos, went missing the morning of Christmas Eve. She was last seen on Caspian Spring on the far northwest side of Bexar County. Camila was at home next to her.
Hold on a second here. What'd they say?
At home next to her car. Minutes later, she's gone and her car at the northwest side of Bexar County.
Last known location, so.
Camila was at home next to her car. Minutes later, she's gone and her car and her phone are still at home. It's something her friends say is completely unexpected.
We'll always be on the phone together when she walks. It's been very out of the normal.
It's not like her. She's always been the one to always stalk on us and like, why aren't you doing this?
To make sure that her phone's always charged.
Yeah.
And the search for Camila has been nonstop since Christmas Eve. Family and friends, more than 100 people searching for her here at the intersection of Braun Road and Mustang Ranch in this wooded area and even underneath an overpass, looking for her every day until they find her.
We've been searching on foot, like within a 3-mile radius. We don't have a single clue.
We love her. We want her with us. We hope she comes back.
Oh, devastating. It went real hard.
What would you say to Camila right now if you could?
Well, I miss her. Daddy's waiting for her at home.
The search continues as the Bexar County Sheriff's Office issues.
This is so horrible. All right, hold on a second here. We remember the date. Yes, yes, she is. She's better. Thank you very much. Thank you, Nicole. Appreciate it. Like I said, I really appreciate everybody reaching out and stuff like that. I really appreciate that. You guys are awesome. Let me see here. Hold on one second. I want to get this here. Okay, so this is where she was. This is the area here where she was. So Caspian Spring. This is in Bexar County in Texas. I don't know what this is, but this is kind of like the area where she was last seen. If I can get an address, I'll try to find that. Anyways, okay. So hold on a second. Let me go back to this here. Hold on a second. Let me very good. Okay, so this is the Clear Alert, 19 years old, Hispanic brown, 5'4", 110 pounds, brown hair. Last seen wearing black North Face sweater with baby blue accents, baby blue shorts, and white shoes. So this came out the 24th, which was a few days ago.
Shoot a clear alert for Camila.
So possibly endangered. Can I copy this? You think? No.
Family and friends are checking the Wild Horse Park area and all over Northwest Bexar County.
I want her to come back.
If someone's seen something, someone's heard something, if she's talked to you in the last few days, if any hint.
You can call BCSO at 210-335-6000.
Please come home. Daddy's missing.
Zaria Oates, KSAT.
Caspian Spring. What was that? Hold on a second. Is that Mustang Bay?
KSAT 12 News.
All right, hold on a second here. Right here. It's just the same thing.
The search continues for 19-year-old Camila Olmos, who was last seen on the northwest side of Bexar County. Her family tells the night team Zaria Oates that she left home Christmas Eve around 7 a.m. and never came back.
It's a mother's worst nightmare.
Very stressful.
Maribel Mendoza's
Bexar County? I'm trying to get a Mustang Spring Road. Okay, so that's Mustang Spring Road, and that's Caspian Spring Road. So they must interject at some point here. Where am I? Hold on a second. Give me 2 seconds while I try to figure this out. Okay. Well, I'll keep playing this here. I'm trying to.
daughter, Camila Mendoza Olmos, went missing the morning of Christmas Eve. She was last seen on Caspian Spring on the far northwest side of Bexar County. This home security camera shows the last time Camila was at home.
This is pronounced Bexar County, so the X is silent.
Next to her car.
Hold on a second. Well, they got pretty good. If that's so, this is okay.
West side of Bexar County. This home security camera shows the last time Camila was at home next to her car. Minutes later.
So that's her car, and that must be her. Hold on a second. Walking away from her car.
The last time Camila was at home next to her car. Minutes later, she's gone, and her car and her phone are still at home. It's something her friends say is completely unexpected.
We'll always be on the phone together when she walks. It's been very out of the normal.
It's not like her. She's always been the one to always stalk on us and like, why aren't you doing this?
To make sure that her phone's always charged.
Yeah.
And the search for Camila has been nonstop since Christmas Eve. Family and
Thank you for that, Becky. Appreciate that. So it's Bexar and not Bexar. Okay, thank you. You guys have no idea how much I'm happy to be back here doing a live, because I was actually going to go live last Saturday night, because I probably could have, but I just wasn't, I wouldn't have been able to concentrate at all. But I was thinking about it. English is a mixed up language for sure. Thank you, Becky. Appreciate that. All right, so let's go here.
friends, more than 100 people searching for her here at the intersection of Braun Road and Mustang Ranch in this wooded area, and even
Ron Road, Mustang. Hold on a second. Sorry to keep doing this. Ron Road. Say Ron Road. Ron Road. I hate when they do this to me. All right, well, I'll have to figure this out myself here, but
underneath an overpass, looking for her every day until they find her.
And we've been searching on foot like within a 3-mile radius. We don't have a single clue.
La amamos.
We love her. We want her with us. We hope she comes
this is so sad. This is awful. Oh,
back.
Queremos que regrese.
Oh, devastating. It been real hard.
What would you say to Camila right now if you could?
Well, I miss her. Daddy's waiting for her at home.
The search continues as the Bexar County Sheriff's Office issued a clear alert for Camila. Family and friends are checking the Wild Horse Park area and all over Northwest Bexar County.
I'll try to copy this stuff down here and put it in my community page at some point.
I her to come back.
If someone's seen something, someone's heard something, if she's talked to you in the last few days, if any hints.
You can call BCSO at 210-335-6000.
Please come home.
So BCSO stands for Bexar County Sheriff's Office, I think. So I kind of got it here as far as where she was last seen. So
Home. Daddy's missing.
Zaria Oates, KSAT.
Mustang Bay Road. So Mustang Bay Road. Where the hell am I now? Hold on a second. Mustang. All right.
12 News.
All right. So that's that. Let's go to this one here. Let's play this one here really quick. So her name is Camila Olmos. She's 19 years old. And this is the search party. This was done 16 hours ago. Wild Horse Subdivision, Northwest Bexar County. So this is where this search was done, Wild Horse Subdivision here. Sorry, there's no sound here for some reason. Trying to get a feeling of where they are here. Whoops. Look at all these people. There's a ton of people here. I wish I could read that sign right there. All right, so that's just the search party that was done. Let's play this one here, then we'll go and move on to something else.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Darian Trotter. Today marks day 4 since Bexar County Sheriff's deputies started looking for the 19-year-old who went missing on Christmas Eve. Now, family members and friends of Camila Olmos are leading a search of their own in hopes of finding her safe and soon. News 4 San Antonio's Phil Sterling joins us live from the far northwest side where the search continues tonight. Phil.
Hey, Heather's here. Good to see Heather. Sorry, I'm trying to do some map stuff here. I wonder if the police have any leads. Yeah, me too. I always like to check out the search party too, because it isn't strange to have the person who actually, if there was anything foul, be in the search party. It's always good to see Heather in here. Hope Heather's doing well. Good to see you, Heather. Sorry I haven't been here for a couple weeks.
Now, Darian, I spoke with volunteers in this volunteer group, about 120 people strong. They say they've searched a 2-mile radius around Olmos's home. They've thoroughly searched it. And now what they've done is they've expanded that radius. They've eventually landed at this creek near Evelyn Scarborough Elementary School. They've been handing out these flyers.
Now they got me going all over to the elementary school. I'll have to look this up. This will take me forever tonight if I have to do this here.
Showing Olmos and describing what she was reportedly wearing when she went missing. Now, she was last seen on a motion camera opening her back car door. Detectives believe she left her home on foot.
Okay, so this is W loop there. Right there. And what's the other one? Loop.
Foot. Here you can see the map where volunteers have been searching. Sections you see that are highlighted are areas they've already searched. Now, this group is not connected to the Bexar County Sheriff's Office, although group members tell us they've seen sheriff's deputies searching in the field.
In fact, 2 calls that we put in today for possible evidence.
You gotta really, really give a shout out to some of these people who volunteer to do this, though, because it's just
Bexar County Sheriff responded immediately, and SAPD on the other case as well.
We're working with the sheriff's office to find out more about what they found. Right now we're waiting on an update. Almost was last seen.
Okay, so that's it's kind of in here somewhere. Once I get, I'll try to do another live on this at some point here, but I kind of know where they are. I just can't.
Wearing a black hoodie, baby blue pajama bottoms, and white tennis shoes. Now, Oak Hills Church Youth Group says they're going to be holding a prayer at Ambassador's Coffee, and anybody is invited to join. That will start at 6 p.m. Phil Sterling reporting live from the Northwest Side, News 4 San Antonio.
All right, Phil, thanks. The Uvalde Foundations for Kids.
Dieter's here. Good to see Dieter. Sorry I didn't see you. Trying to figure out where the hell these people are. It's always good to see everybody here. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody had a good holiday. I got one more holiday to go, and then it's over for a little while.
Kids is also offering.
I'm gonna try to find this flyer here and post it on my community post.
A $1,000 reward for information leading to Camila's location and safe return. Anyone with information is asked to contact the Bexar County Sheriff's Office.
All right. I'll oops.
Details tonight in the case of a baby who.
All right, sorry about that. All right, let's get out of this here. here. I do want to go to some of the older cases of the last couple of weeks here. Give me 2 minutes here. We'll do the Brian Walsh thing first, I think. Should we do the Brian Walsh thing first? Let's do. Give me 2 seconds here. Oh, I got something to show people here. Hold on 1 second here. another one of these things. All right. Hold on a second. I'll play this here and then I'll find the Brian Walsh stuff. But this is it's another one of those courtroom brawls here. Hold on a second here. I saw this one too while I was up at the hospital. So caution, video contains profanity, viewer discretion is advised. This judge wasn't having any of this though. Fight in a courtroom, public gallery delayed sentencing hearings in a Wisconsin unaliving case. Larry was in a court to be sentenced for his role in the deadly shooting of a Tatiana Zek in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. The other suspect, Antonio Johnson, was also scheduled to be, but this is wicked funny. This is well, it's not funny, it's just I think these things are funny.
Hey, you need to remember my words of caution. Okay, this is not, I gave everyone the opportunity to be heard. If you cannot conform to the behavior expectations I set forth, you need to leave. All right, stop. Everyone,
People are losing it.
stop.
Like her saying stop is going to do anything. Well, they said careful because of the profanity, but they beeped it all out. So why did they even do that?
To say that I am frustrated and disappointed is an understatement. I started this hearing this morning with the warning about what I had hoped would not happen today. And it's exactly what happened. This courtroom should be able to be a safe space for justice to be accomplished for everyone involved. Now, you should be aware that people who were involved in the circumstances that took place before we broke for a significant period of time, there have been some arrests. There may be other people facing charges. If anyone so much as moves a finger out of place where I think it's jeopardizing the functioning of this courtroom, the safety of anyone in it, you will be removed from this courtroom. I had granted leeway this morning, knowing it's very cold outside. Everyone wearing a hat, take it off. Hats off. I'll wait till more people. I don't want this to fall on deaf ears with half the people missing.
Why is it that you can't wear a hat in a courthouse? Is that kind of like a disrespect thing? I never understood that. I hope Barbara's okay. Is Barbara okay? All right. Yeah, this judge was just not having this.
Hats need to be removed.
I don't think the hats are what you got to worry about. I mean, these people were basically punching each other in the face. I don't think the hats are going to.
That means the red hat. The red hat comes off. As I was saying, I was expressing my extreme displeasure with everything that transpired a few hours ago. I'm not going to play these games. I'm not going to have anyone's safety in this courtroom jeopardized. Do you think, Tatiana, any of the other victims would have appreciated anyone's behavior? Do you think Paris appreciates anyone's behavior in this courtroom? I guarantee not. It is absolutely ridiculous. This is a court of law. I gave you a warning this morning. So any good graces that individuals in this courtroom have been provided, you've lost those. So as I was saying, if there are any words that are mumbled, comments to the other side of the aisle that I think are inappropriate, if I hear anything, you're out. You're not going to be disrupting these proceedings. If there are movements that give me any sort of concern, you will be escorted from this courtroom.
These people are weird. Like, all she's got to do is worry about the hats, right? These people are already, I think this happened like 3 times.
As I said, I gave the leeway this morning to have hats on given the weather. Hats need to be off. I already warned people about cell phones. I'm going to make that warning again. Cell phones need to be off, not silenced, not on vibrate, put away. I don't want to see it. If anyone in this courtroom, we've got obviously a lot more presence of law enforcement now. If anyone sees a cell phone, you can have that person escorted out of the courtroom. We're not going to be playing these games, as I said.
I just thought that was funny. Oh, the things you see, man. You can't make this stuff up, right? These people are all right, so let's get out of this. I want to go to the Brian Walsh thing here. I found it, so let's go to this here. I got so much stuff going on in my feeds here that it's hard to find all the stuff that I wanted to play tonight. But here we go. With this Brian Walsh thing, I know this happened a while ago, but I wanted to see this. So the verdict was reached in the Brian Walsh murder trial. This is the jury found him obviously guilty of first-degree unaliving. So he pled guilty to actually doing the crime, but he said it was some sort of an accident. So they, I forget how long the trial was, but they found him guilty anyways. I don't think they provided a lot of evidence saying that, that he actually didn't do it because of that, but whatever, they found him guilty. So he's going to spend the rest of his life in jail. That's prison. That's the best you can ever, imagine for this guy here. He's such a douchebag. But here we go. This is, the verdict. This was done 12 days ago. Wow. I've been away for a while.
Possible outcomes at this point, because we've gotten down to them potentially coming back with a first-degree murder conviction, with a second-degree murder conviction, or not guilty at all. Now, here's what we know. They deliberated for about 2 hours on Friday. After those 2 hours said they hadn't reached a verdict, and then they wanted to pick back up with jury deliberations this morning. They did. They went in at about 9:30, so they've deliberated for another about 2 hours at this point before we got word that they had now reached a verdict. And keep in mind, before they went into deliberations, the judge did instruct them to make sure to go through all of the evidence that they had. She wanted them to look through all of the evidence. She wanted to read the...
This guy is such a horrible human being, man. It just, oh, my God.
Jury instructions and the verdict form very carefully. And we know this has been a diligent jury. Sue O'Connell was in the courtroom and telling us that they were very, they seemed...
Hope you're okay, Heather. It's always good to see Heather here. It's always good to see Miranda Lee here. Always good to see all of you here.
Very deliberate. They seemed very diligent in all of her instructions, and they seem to be paying very close attention. So that wouldn't surprise me that it has taken this long for the jury to come in.
So if
it wasn't really, it wasn't that long. It was like 4 hours, wasn't it? Like 4. I thought it was like they deliberated for like 4 hours.
remember, the prosecution put on a case for 8 days.
Entering all rise.
Did not call any witnesses to the stand. Therefore, this really summed up in 8 days any evidence that would go toward the jury. The defense is claiming there is no evidence that Brian Walsh murdered his wife. There is, however, evidence that he dismembered his wife. The question.
Yeah, see, that was a contention. He said he didn't unalive her, that she was unalived, and he just kind of dismembered her body and put it all over, the coastline of Massachusetts, but I don't think the jury bought that.
Question is, will the jury be able to find him guilty without a body? That is the primary question.
And he pleaded guilty to dismembering a body. The jury doesn't know that, but he has already pled out to that.
And the defense attorney in closing did mention that he did do that, in fact.
In the matter of the Commonwealth
Let's
versus
listen in.
Brian Walsh, have the deliberating jurors reached a unanimous verdict?
We have.
Thank you, sir. If you could
Thank you, Mustang, for putting those in the chat. If you guys have channels, feel free to throw them in the chat. I have no problem with promoting other people. I know PJ's got another channel now. PJ's doing awesome. Mustang's in here. Paula's in here. Shibby's somewhere around. Shibby's got a great channel too. Barbara Hall's got a great channel. Let's see here. So feel free to throw them in the chat.
hand that to the court officer, please.
This guy is he's got that face, that just like, he's guilty. You know from the face he's guilty.
Your Honor, may the verdict be recorded.
It may.
Mr.
Thank you, Big Fish.
Person, in the matter of the Commonwealth versus Brian Walsh, Norfolk Superior Court Criminal Indictment Number 2023-0091. As to count one, wherein the defendant Brian Walsh is charged with murder in the first degree, what say the jury? Is the defendant guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Guilty of what, sir?
Murder in the first degree.
Murder in the first degree. So say you, Mr. Foreperson.
I like to play these things a few times because it helps my OCD, right? Like, just to hear them say guilty and watch his face and just it helps me.
Criminal Indictment Number 2023-0091. As to count one, wherein the defendant Brian Walsh is charged with murder in the first degree, what say the jury? Is the defendant guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Guilty of what?
That's awesome. It's freaking awesome. Oh, I gotta play it again. Yep, you're guilty.
One, wherein the defendant Brian Walsh is charged with murder in the first degree.
Watch his face. He just kind of like nods.
What say the jury? Is the defendant guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Guilty of what, sir?
Murder in the first degree.
Murder in the first degree. So say you, Mr. Foreperson.
You piece of shit.
I do.
Guilty of murder in the first degree. So say all deliberating jurors.
I do.
Thank you. If you could hand that back to the court officer, please.
This time we move to poll the jurors.
The jury may be polled.
Thank you. Juror number one, juror in seat number one. As to the verdict of murder in the first degree, is that your verdict?
Yes, it is.
Juror number two, is that your verdict?
Yes.
Juror number three, is that your verdict?
Yes.
Juror number four, as to the charge of murder in the first degree, is that your verdict?
Yes.
Mr. Foreperson, is that your verdict?
Yes.
Is that your verdict?
Yes.
Juror in seat number 8, is that your verdict?
Yes.
Juror in seat number 9, is that your verdict? Yes. Juror in seat number 10, is that your verdict? Juror in seat number 13?
Yes.
Is that your verdict?
Yes.
Juror in seat number 14, is that your verdict?
Yes.
And last juror, is that your verdict?
Yes.
Your Honor, all jurors answer affirmatively that the guilty of first degree is their verdict.
The verdict may be recorded. Please be seated.
Proceeded.
So jurors, I want to thank you for your service on this case. I know that it went a little bit more quickly than we were expecting, but your service has been substantial. We're in the third week of this trial, and I appreciate all you did to be obedient to those rules that I placed on you and for your conscientious service as jurors in this case. I will be back to meet with you privately in a moment,
You should feel a weight lifting off of you right now as I'm releasing of you of those requirements. You can talk to anyone about this case or no one at all. You can do whatever research you wish to do about the case or none at all. You go back on social media.
Is Dino out of here? Did Dino leave? Good to see you, buddy. Always good to see Mino Dino in here. If I don't see you by the time New Year's comes around, have a good New Year's. Always good to see Mino Dino in here. Yeah, the whole nodding thing is, he knew he was going to get. He knew it's like, you got to be dumb to not know you're going to get. I mean, they just, I think he knew he was going to get what he got. That sucks. Yeah. Poor thing. Thank you, buddy. Thank you, Dino. I appreciate that. It's always good to see you, man. All right. New Year's Eve is tough for a lot of people. All of the holidays are tough for a lot of people. Play a little bit more of this here, and then I'll get to, one second.
If you want, news media. And I'm supposed to release you from that burden of being open-minded.
The motive in this, I think she was literally getting ready to leave his ass. Like she was tired of his lies, and she was just ready to start a new life with herself. And he had, pride issues and all of that stuff, and he just ended up getting rid of her. It's just it's a horribly sad case. Just another example of extreme domestic issues here. And this guy,
But I hope you always go through your lives with open hearts and open minds, new experiences and new people. I'll be back in just a minute to meet with all of you privately. Thank you very much, Bruce.
no, this guy, I knew he was guilty from, it's always the husband. Usually it's 70%. So he's got that going for him. And he couldn't produce anything of reason to why he wouldn't have done it. So I knew he was, this guy's just an asshole. Just technically he's a, pardon the French, he's just a terrible person.
Exiting, all rise. First, follow me, please.
I'll play this here.
Persuaded by the logic.
This is the sentencing here, I think. The judge in the trial against Brian Walsh decided his fate Thursday morning. This was 9 days ago. Condemning him for the heinous murders of his wife, Anna Walsh, and sentencing him to life in prison. The judge also noted that his children will now grow up without their mother and that friends and family were never given the chance. This is just such a horrible case for everyone.
Of Donovan, even if it applied to this case, and even if it was as broad-reaching as the defense suggests in its.
Tennessee is starting a domestic violence offender rate. Good. That's about time. That's awesome. That's the best news I've heard in a while. That's it should be. I mean, this stuff just is terrible.
Sentencing memo, which the court finds it is not.
It's literally why I'm doing this stuff for, children, people who can't defend themselves, people who have no way to get out of stuff like this here. And, it's just going to keep happening until people actually get in trouble for it. This guy is a literal douchebag. He doesn't belong in society. He can't be trusted. It's just not, It's just not good for anybody, really. I mean, his kids now are going to suffer for that. They don't have a father or a mother. It's just, it's not good for anyone. Yeah, he's going to be that's right. It's a federal. That's awesome. No, he's not smiling now, is he? That's, if I was a judge, I would have let him sit there for hours and hours and hours until I said something. Like, it's just torture. I literally have no respect for any guy that harms a woman. I really don't. It's just years ago I was told not to ever like I grew up with two sisters, so there were times when you just really wanted to knock them out, right? But me and my father had a pretty good arrangement early on that you just don't touch women. You don't do it. So I have no respect for any guy that does anything like this. It's just it's an ego, it's a pride, it's just these people are just lower than low. It's just this woman here had everything going for her, and he just couldn't deal with that. And it's perfect that it was a woman judge, right? It's just the perfect thing.
There is no task facing a judge that is more important or more difficult than crafting an appropriate sentence. The legislature mandates that the only appropriate sentence for the jury's verdict, murder in the first degree, is life in prison without the possibility of parole. That sentence is immensely appropriate and just, given your murderous acts and the life trauma that you've inflicted upon your own children. As to counts 2 and 3, I have wide discretion in sentencing. I want to state my rationale for your sentences on those 2 counts on the record now. I have considered various factors with regard to my sentence for counts 2 and counts 3, to which you pled guilty on November 18th, 2025. Specifically, I've considered the severity of the crimes, their nature and circumstances, and your role in those crimes, the need to deter others from committing comparable crimes, and your prior criminal record, namely your federal fraud case. As to the latter, your criminal history shows a long and well-documented history of deceitful and manipulative behavior. I've considered your character or lack thereof, your behavior, and your background.
I haven't seen this yet, so this is all new to me, but this guy is getting his ass handed to him.
With regard to the nature and circumstances of the offenses, as to indictment 002, in the approximately 4 hours of interviews spanning 4 days, you concocted a detailed, completely fabricated story of what happened to Anna Walsh on January 1st, 2023, in order to cover up your murder of her and disposal of her body. Your lies triggered a multi-day, extensive missing persons investigation. A command center was set up and
The only thing that sucks about this is they'll never know where she is, probably. So, because I don't think he's going to give up the location. I mean, she's probably scattered in hundreds of different areas. So, but it just sucks for the family that they're not going to know, you know.
Cohasset and was manned by various law enforcement, to include the Cohasset Police Department and the Massachusetts State Police. And local and Massachusetts resources were deployed to Washington, D.C. to investigate at Anna's home. Because of your lies, thousands of...
Is it Anna or Anna? It's Anna, I think. Anna. I've been saying it wrong the whole time. It's Anna. Okay.
Hours of investigative resources were wasted and diverted from other deserving cases and investigations. As to the nature and circumstances of count 3, the improper disposal of Anna Walsh's body, the seriousness of your acts cannot be overstated. Your acts in dismembering your wife's body and disposing of her remains in multiple...
How could you do that to somebody? Like, how do you do that? Like, how can you actually go ahead and do that to somebody that you lived with for how many years? Like, it's just so degrading. It's just so, you gotta be sick.
Area dumpsters can only be described as barbaric and incomprehensible. You had no regard for the lifelong mental harm that your criminal acts inflicted on your then 2, 4, and 6-year-old sons.
Like, it's not like you're not going to get caught, right? This some people are just so dumb.
Not only in taking their mother, but also, as is specific to this charge, in never being able to properly grieve that loss, to say goodbye to their mom. And I hear today the same is equally true of a sister who never was able to say a proper goodbye to her sister, a mother who never was able to say a proper goodbye to her daughter.
It just sucks. This is so terrible.
And many friends who had the same loss. As to indictments 2 and 3, I have considered the sentencing guidelines, the aggravating factors. There are no mitigating factors in this case. And I also sought out and considered information from the Massachusetts Sentencing Commission, again, which I shared with the parties earlier this week. In particular, sentencings in 2022 and 2023 of defendants who were convicted of murder and or voluntary manslaughter, along with a Chapter 268, Section 13B conviction.
Right. I mean, I don't know how he got away with doing that, but he, the investigation into this thing here, especially the beginning of the investigation, was kind of tomfoolery. So that could have been one of the reasons why. I mean, I don't think it took him a few days to actually report her missing. I think they had to literally force him to do it. Who knows?
This is not a guideline case. Finally, as to the first-degree murder conviction, I have considered the loss of the life of an innocent, remarkable woman, Anna Walsh, and its devastating impact on her children, as relayed to me in the letter from DCF, her family, as relayed to me in her sister's victim impact statement today, friends in their victim impact statements, in the community. In the trial testimony of Jem Mutlu and Alyssa Kirby, a little bit of Anna Walsh, her warm, powerful, and embracing spirit came to life in this historic courtroom. I have carefully listened to the moving victim impact statement, to the oral written sentencing arguments made by the Commonwealth and by Mr. Walsh. It's clear to me that Anna was.
He should have been seen on camera, but there's ways to get around cameras. Maybe it will go nationwide in short order. Hopefully.
Was a bright light in the lives of many people. She lifted people up. I am sure that nothing I say and no sentence I can impose, even a life sentence, will lessen the grief that Anna Walsh's family, her mother, sister, and 3 boys, extended like family, confidants, friends, and others have endured and will continue to endure. Although I consider the letter of Diana Walsh, I simply cannot reconcile the person Diana Walsh describes in her letter with the person who stands before me for sentence. Mr. Walsh, you can stand. Mr. Walsh, you will live with the guilt and burden of Anna Walsh's death for the rest of your life. As to count 1, the jury having convicted you of murder in the 1st degree, I sentence you to life in prison without the possibility of parole. As to indictment 2, lying to the police in connection with the investigation of a life felony, I sentence you to no less than 19 years, no more than 20 years, the statutory maximum, in prison to be served consecutive to the life sentence in 001. The legislature caps the maximum sentence for the improper disposal of a body at 3 years in state prison. As to indictment 003, the improper disposal of the body of your wife, Anna Walsh, I sentence you to no less than 2 years, 364 days, and no more than 3 years in state prison to run consecutive to the sentences in 001 and 002. I want to make one other notation with regard to the sentences that I'm giving today. Earlier in this case, I identified that there was an error in Mr. Walsh's III. That error persists to today. Specifically, so the record is clear, as I understand Mr. Walsh's prior federal sentence, he was sentenced to 37 months in federal prison. That sentence was to run concurrent with any state sentence that was given in this case. This morning, I asked probation to run his III again, and it is still incorrect. It is showing a 5-year probationary sentence. At my direction, the probation department in the last month, or perhaps a little bit longer, contacted the federal probation office in Boston to correct what I think is an obvious error in his III. It has not been corrected, and it stands still today as showing 5 years of probation as the sentence. To the extent that confuses anything in my sentencing, I want the record to reflect that, again, it's my understanding he was sentenced to 37 months in federal prison to run concurrent with this sentence that I'm now imposing today. Madam Clerk, you may impose the sentence.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Walsh, a jury having returned a guilty verdict on charge 1, murder in the first degree, you were sentenced to the state prison for the term of your natural life. Count 2, witness intimidation, you having entered a guilty plea to that, sir, you're sentenced to 19 years, not less than 19, not more than 20 years, to run from and after your life sentence on count 1. On count 3, improper disposal of a body, you're sentenced to not less than 2 years and 364 days and not more than 3 years to run from and after the sentence on count 2.
So he got the maximum in every single possible charge. He got life in prison without the possibility of parole for the unaliving, and then the maximum that he could have gotten for all of the other convictions. And she made a point that they got to go back to the federal court and change that in there so he serves, not the probation, but the 3 years for that. She gave him, this judge here gave him the maximum for everything. They couldn't have done any more with him other than, so the good news, that's the good news. I mean, he's going to be in prison for the rest of his life. It's the great news. That's awesome. All right, so let's go move on to this here. It took so, these things take forever, but when they finally get these people, it's you just clap. You want to. All right, this is coming out too, and I think I definitely wanted to get on and play this here because this is just my opinion. I have a feeling there's going to be a resolution in this case here in the next couple of years. Just my opinion, but I think they're getting close here. And I know we've heard this before with the police chiefs in these cases promising this here too, but this came out a couple of weeks ago here. Boulder police have released a video update, the JonBenét Ramsey investigation, promising that her unaliving remains a top priority. Ramsey was reported missing. We all know about this case here. But I think they're getting really close in this case here. It's just my opinion, but there seems to be a lot of buzz around this case here in the last few months. So here's, whoops. Hold on a second here. Let's right here. Hold on one second here. Here we go.
JonBenét Ramsey.
I believe that the case will be solved with DNA technology. Lou Smith, the legendary detective, was brought in to work on this case by the DA early on, out of retirement, told me, he said, this case will be solved by DNA.
So nearly 3 decades later, John Ramsey continues speaking on the murder of his daughter, JonBenét. And now police have a new update in the case, but still no suspect. Friday, the Boulder Police Department released a video on the investigation of the 6-year-old's death in an effort to find some new leads. Police Chief Stephen Redfern assures the public that JonBenét's death remains a top priority while sharing some new steps like DNA testing.
Last year, we gave you an update about a lot of the work that has been done to solve this crime, and those efforts have continued. This case remains a top priority for our department. This past year, our detectives have conducted several new interviews, as well as re-interviewed individuals based on tips that we've received. We've also collected new evidence and tested and retested other pieces of evidence to generate new leads. Techniques and technology constantly evolve. This is especially true with technology related to DNA testing. Detectives.
Yeah, I think that there's, I don't know if there's been enhancements with DNA in the last year or so, but they're starting to really get some of these cases to get a little bit easier to test the DNA and point to some sort of a suspect with the newest DNA technology here. And I think that this case here, within the next couple of years or so, I think might be at least pointing to a suspect.
Continue to consult with outside experts from across the country, as well as our state and federal partners, to strategize and explore all options when it comes to evidence testing.
Okay. Now, the chief said the department has also been in contact with the Ramsey
Thank you, Paula.
family. They urge anyone with knowledge of the crime to please come forward. So this update that really didn't give any details is what got us talking. And so what I was wondering, and I want to ask all of you, do you think there's a method to this madness, to have the chief essentially go on, on television, online, on, wherever this update was played publicly, and basically say we have an update and working on it, but there was nothing specific. We're talking about DNA testing. Well, what DNA? Whose did you find? Who are you in? It just, is there a reason for this? I just wonder, are they looking to surveil someone in particular? Are they trying to put this out there to maybe prompt someone to act so they can take a look at what they do? Manuel Gomez, you're joining the conversation. What do you say, please?
Well, I did some severe research into this case, and I have to tell you, there is DNA found, new DNA found on the little girl's underwear, okay? And this is what they were referring to about the DNA. He didn't come publicly and say it, but you notice he was talking more about the DNA, and that's the fact that I found out. Now, what I did know is they haven't researched the aspects they need to, and that is my recommendation and solution to help solve this case is, one, take the new DNA that they found, run it through all the jail databases. That's going to take an investigator anywhere between 2 to 3 months to run the entire United States. But you would run millions of people at one time to see if their DNA matches with the DNA found on the clothes of that little girl. Second, okay, on this case, I don't believe that it was just a pedophile that attacked the girl, but I do believe, unfortunately, that the father was involved. And due to the fact of his cordial, nonchalant attitude when he found the baby and when he brought up the body from the basement, the body, he asked, is she dead? Now, she had rigor mortis. Her eyes were white. Her body was completely pale. Why would... between 2 to 3 months to run the entire United States, but you would run millions of people at one time to see if their DNA matches with the DNA found on the clothes of that little girl. Second, okay, on this case, I don't believe that it was just a pedophile that attacked the girl, but I do believe, unfortunately, that the father was involved. And due to the fact of his cordial, nonchalant attitude when he found the baby and when he brought up the body from the basement.
That's him talking, not me, right?
The body, he asked, is she dead? Now, she had rigor mortis. Her eyes were white. Her body was completely pale. Why would you ask that when you found your kid? You'd be crying. The guy was nonchalant. There's something highly suspicious about him as well.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, I read Dr. Cyril Weck's.
I have to agree with him.
Book on the case. I've talked to him about it. God rest his soul, one of the greatest forensic pathologists of our time. He was highly suspicious of the father. We're going to get into more of Dr. Weck's findings later this week on the show. But in terms of what investigators are doing here, Tommy Pope, do you think this could be a prompt? Like, are they trying to prompt someone? Because they said nothing in terms of what's new. We don't know what's new. You just came on and said you're working on the case still. Could this be, deliberate?
A law enforcement tactic, in other words. Yeah, I think it could be. I will say it's an.
See, I think that's the whole problem. That's been the whole problem from the very beginning. Is the DNA that they have is what they call they can't really, especially back then, they couldn't really dissect it enough to get it's tainted. It's tainted from the very beginning. So, now they got to try to separate that with technology to point a finger to somebody. And in my opinion, that finger is going to point right to him. That's just my opinion. Just because it was a deliberate act in my opinion against him, so that he could push the blame away from him. That's just my opinion in this case. It's been that way the whole time. But he purposely did that on purpose. It was done on purpose.
Irony, Julie.
And now they have to try to figure out a way, technology-wise, to separate that, to point the finger back at him.
You and I were talking when I saw you in studio in Atlanta, how I got invited to New York to talk about the John Benet Ramsey case like 30 years ago. And
yeah, the father, and it's not all his fault. I mean, they literally let him go downstairs. So but let technology get to an advanced state here where they can literally separate some of this stuff out. And just my opinion.
The media was saying, why are they not more forthcoming? And I was explaining that sometimes law enforcement has to keep it close to the vest. And I joked that I never got invited back to that group after I told them the media didn't need to know more. But I think, we do have new technology. I can remember a death penalty case I tried right when DNA first started, and it was that RFLP DNA, and you had to have about the sample size of a quarter. And by the time the guy had gotten it overturned and come back and I had to try him again, we had PCR. And so now you have the smaller, DNA. And so I think they've got the evidence. It's like Manuel said, maybe I was thinking run it through the database. Now, the trap is there. If it is an inside job, if it is family related, if he's never been in the system, I'm sure they have their DNA. But, we've got overlay of DNA when you're dealing with family members. So if it's totally foreign DNA, in other words, not relatives, then maybe they can make a pull from there. And like you said, maybe they have an eye on somebody and they're hoping to see if this makes them change anything. I mean, I've seen, law enforcement can use falsehoods to get confessions, so to speak. So they may say, we've got, we know that there's a red jacket or whatever the case may be. And like you said, wait to see if they go throw it in the dumpster or burn it or things of that nature.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that I don't know. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before, so that wouldn't surprise me. But I don't know. I've always suspected the dad. That's just me. I mean, I don't buy any of the other. But it could be though. I mean, it's definitely possible. But all right. So let's go to the Zodiac guy here. Hold on a second here. I want to follow up on this here because I've been following this for forever too. So according to the Daily Mail, an investigator argues he solved the case of the Zodiac killer. They all say that. And the Black Dahlia murderer, linking both crimes to Marvin Margolis. Alex Barber, an investigative consultant, and Josh Boswell, a senior reporter for the Daily Mail, joined Banfield. So this is regarding the connection between the Zodiac and the Black Dahlia unaliving to the same guy.
Infamous unsolved crimes in American history: the Black Dahlia murder and the case of the Zodiac killer. Both crimes were front page news back in their day, but in spite of the massive publicity, the identity of the killers has remained a mystery until now. Because in a world exclusive report, the Daily Mail has revealed that the murders, separated by 20 years, may not have been committed by separate killers at all. They were allegedly the work of one man, identified by investigative consultant Alex Baber as Marvin Margolis, who lived in California when both murders occurred. So how did Baber crack this case? Well, to understand that, first you have to know some very key information about both of these cases before we move forward. So in January of 1947, the mutilated body of aspiring actress Elizabeth Short was discovered near Lover's Lane in Los Angeles. The papers quickly dubbed her the Black Dahlia, a nickname given by friends due to her raven hair and penchant for black clothing. Those friends included Margolis, who fell under suspicion after lying to cops about his relationship.
Hey, Dom, good to see you. Always good to see Dom in here. Thank you for all of the kind wishes and stuff like that for the past couple of weeks. You guys have all been great. Always good to see you. Yes, it is. This is a case that I've been following for forever here.
was short, and police even considered him a suspect at some point. 5 days after Short's body was discovered, the editor of the Los Angeles Examiner gets a call congratulating him on his paper's coverage of the murder and promising to send.
Thanks for asking, Dom. She's doing better. She's much better. She's home. She's got a follow-up appointment. I guess she's on she's on an antibiotic now 3 times a day, so she'll be going back in for another scan next week, I think, or something. But she's doing much better. Thank you for asking.
Send a letter. The next day, authorities intercepted a package containing Short's birth certificate as well as some photographs, and several more letters would follow, including one with a drawing of a dagger dripping with blood. But despite these clues, cops never zeroed in on a suspect. And decades later, another killer would send some letters of his own. In December 1968, 2 teenagers were found murdered at another lover's lane just outside of San Francisco. 7 months later, another couple would be found dead just 2 miles from the first murders. And a month after that, the Zodiac killer sent letters to 3 local papers claiming the killings. But something else was also in that letter, a message written in code, better known as a cipher. More victims and more ciphers would soon follow. In total, 5 victims were murdered and 2 more were injured by the Zodiac killer. And more than 20 ciphers would be sent by the killer, including, most critically, the Z13 cipher sent in April of 1970. That cipher included the words, "My name is ... followed by yet another code which decades of experts have struggled to decipher. But those experts weren't armed with the cutting-edge AI technology that helped Alex Baber to at last uncover a name, finally revealing that the Zodiac killer may well be the same man once considered for the murder of the Black Dahlia, Marvin Margolis. So what else links these 2 crimes? To help us get some answers, we're joined exclusively by Alex Baber, the investigative consultant who cracked the code, and Josh Boswell, the Daily Mail reporter who broke the story. Gentlemen, thank you so much and welcome to the show. Alex, I want to start with you. Tell us how AI helped you succeed in cracking the code when so many before you, for decades, had failed.
Okay, so hold on. Let me give you a background for those who don't know what's going on with this here. Hold on one second. All right, so this is about the discovery on the morning of January 5th, 1947. Elizabeth Short's uncovered body was severed in 2 pieces, was found in a vacant lot on the west side of South Norton Avenue, midway between the Coliseum Street and West 39th Street. And that's the coordinates right there, if anybody's plotting out. In the neighborhood of Leimert Park, which was largely undeveloped at the time. Short's severely mutilated body was completely severed at the waist and drained of blood. This is going to be triggering, leaving her skin pallid white. The examiners determined that she had been dead for around 10 hours prior to the discovery, leaving her time of death either. So this is basically the discovery here. So if you want to read about this case, this is a strange case, and I've been following this for a very long time. Okay, so her autopsy, Short's body was performed January 16, 1947 by Frederick Newbar, Los Angeles County Coroner. There were ligature marks on her ankles, wrists, and neck, and an irregular laceration with specific tissue loss of right boob, breast. Newbar also noted superficial lacerations for right forearm, left upper arm, and so this woman here was not good. And there's the death certificate right there, if you guys want to know. She was identified after her fingerprints were sent to the FBI, and her fingerprints were on file from her 1943 arrest. Sutton intentionally deceived Phoebe and told her that her daughter had worn won a beauty contest. So this is kind of like a breakdown of what happened with her. An investigation, a person claiming to be Short's unaliver placed a phone call to the office of James Richardson, the editor of the Examiner, congratulating Richardson on the newspaper's coverage of the case. 3 days later, a suspicious manila envelope was discovered addressed to the Los Angeles Examiner and other Los Angeles papers with individual words that have been cut and pasted from newspaper clippings. So, right, that has the strange ties to similar to what the Zodiac would do. So there's just a ballpark of what happened to her. So let's go back to hold on a second here. Here.
Well, thank you for having me.
Of course.
We had a different approach when we saw the Z13 for the first time. We understood that the numerous individuals before us had failed because they saw.
Yeah, this is crazy.
Saw it as being an infinite number of possible solutions. And we knew for a fact that that wasn't the case. We just had to go through every possible solution mathematically to come up with an end or a single solution that would correlate with the crimes, the location, and all the evidence. And in doing so, we sourced the Social Security Administration first male names and all surnames. And we wanted to group these on letter frequency or character count within the Z13. And that would allow us to know under a monoalphabetical solution or key that we would be able to identify the most likely name set. So what we did was we uploaded these. There were 71 million when we started. And we started processing those between 18 and 20-hour days over just over 9 months. And we kept getting these smaller subpools of individuals. And when we got to the bottom, 94% of the 71 million was eliminated because though the names came together with the character count, it was not a real world individual we could identify. So what we did from that point is we took the records based on the Zodiac's profile and history. We knew he's likely between 35 and 45. In April 2022, they released the 1950 census records. So we knew the first attack happened in December of 1968. So the individual would at least be 19 years of age. So taking that into consideration, we figured based on the witness accounts, including Officer Folk, who said he was between 35 and 45, that we would work backwards from that point. So we gathered all the records and all the names that were left in the pool, and we actually cross-reference those with the 1950 census record, working in reverse. And in doing so, we're able to eliminate the other groupings of names as possible solutions or candidates. Through a very long, extensive period, we were able to eliminate all but 184 possible candidates, meaning that there was real-world individuals who were possible or probable at that point, but we had to go into their background. So when we started getting into their background, the pool got smaller down to 35 to 14, and then down to one individual, and that individual was Marvin Merrill.
It's incredible. It's incredible. Let me go to Josh for a second. Can you tell us more about Margolis? Why did cops look at him for the Black Dahlia murder, and what sort of triggered the suspicion that he was the killer?
There were really two key points that caused police to zero in on Marvin Margolis for the Black Dahlia killing. Firstly, her body was found cut in two very cleanly with surgical precision. And so police from the beginning were thinking this has to be someone with some kind of medical background. Now, Margolis at the time was studying medicine at USC. So, he already fit that profile in that respect. Also, the night before the killings, a female police officer encountered at an LA downtown bus station Elizabeth Short, the victim, who was distraught and was saying that she was being threatened with death by her ex-Marine boyfriend, who was very angry at her. And of course, the only boyfriend who Elizabeth Short had, who was an ex-Marine, was Marvin Margolis. So that's what got him kind of on the police's list at the time.
Amazing. Alex, what other evidence connects these two crimes 20 years apart?
Okay, so when we approached the descendant of the suspect, we came to him with the handwriting samples or letters of the Zodiac. And when we presented those to him, he recognized the handwriting. And at that point, we disclosed the connection of his father to Elizabeth Short in 1946. They lived together for 12 days at Guardian Arms Apartments. And he wasn't aware of that, he said. However, he said, I got something I want to show you. So he pulls out his phone, he starts flipping through his photographs. And the first thing that came to my mind, understanding the history of his father, was that he was an artist. He claimed to have studied under Salvador Dali. At the time, he dated Elizabeth Short to be his actor.
Craving pickles. Pickles are good. I used to know somebody that loved pickle sandwiches, like just pickles and bread, toasted bread.
And I said, well, did he make a painting? And he said, no, a sketch. So he pulls this sketch up and he shows it to me on his phone. And he hands it.
I can't eat pickles anymore. I'd have heartburn for like 3 weeks. My Coke O is helping. Coke Zero? You like Coke Zero?
It to me, and I zoom in, and it says Elizabeth in large bold printing on the bottom. It's signed and dated by him, 1992. Within a year of his death, he died of terminal cancer. And within this sketch, there's these wounds that are depicted that are very unique and precise to what was seen in the autopsy of Elizabeth Short. And she appears to have wet hair. She appears to be lying in something, blood between her. But when I got the photograph of the sketch, first thing that came to mind is Zodiac liked playing games. He always had these hidden clues. So we started running.
It's always good to see Nicole here. Nicole's here. We got Heather in the house. Paul, of course. We got Dom. You guys are all awesome.
They sketch through this. We're peeling off.
Miranda, Mustang, all you guys.
The layers for light contrast. And in the lower right corner, as you can see it circled, we discovered a single word. And that word was Zodiac, capital Z, lowercase o, lowercase I, lowercase a, lowercase c. That was an immediate moment for me where I knew what we had was a piece of physical evidence.
Unbelievable. Gentlemen, amazing work. Bravo to both of you. Thank you for joining me. Happy holidays. We're out of time. So,
you know, the way the pizza's going these days here, like I'm a huge, like I only like Italian pizza. I can't have Greek pizza. I know everybody has their own opinions, but and it's really tough around here to get authentic Italian pizza. So I'm with Nicole here. Homemade pizzas are better because you can kind of make them however you want. All right, so let's move on to this here. I'll keep an eye on this here too. This is very, very interesting in this case here. But let me get out of this here, and we're going to go on to the Melody Buzzard case here. This is I was completely wrong about this case here. This is freaking sad. This is absolutely horrible. I found out about this a few days ago, and it just shocked me. Like, why would she do this? This is so weird. But anyways, the Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Office announces the developments in the case against Melody Buzzard after she was found unalived. She had just been seen on a surveillance video in October near the Utah-Colorado border, and a source said her remains were found in Utah. So this is just awful. This is just so they've arrested the mom as a suspect here, and she was arrested in California. So this is just awful.
Before I do that, though, and before I walk through it, I want to thank in particular, and we'll go into some further detail of our allied agencies that helped us, but two in particular that I want to recognize at the start of this, and that is the Federal Bureau of Investigation, which has been with us throughout the investigation and has helped us not only in our regional.
Yeah, there's nothing like I mean, it's my opinion. I know everybody has their own pizza taste, but I just love Italian pizza.
Area, but also out of state. And I particularly want to thank Sheriff Micah Gully and the members of the Wayne County Sheriff's Office in Wayne County, Utah, and every other agency that assisted us with their partnership.
This is not okay. This is just this whole thing. Why?
Their professionalism and for their commitment to this case. This level of coordination among jurisdictions was essential. It was superb, and we are grateful for the support provided.
Yeah, you were definitely right. I do think there's some sort of an issue going on with her, though, the mom. I'm not trying to make excuses for her, but there's obviously something wrong with her. I knew that. Yeah, for sure. I hope Hebby's okay. I hope you're okay, Hebby. Heather.
At every stage. While this remains an active criminal case and certain details are still being investigated and cannot be disclosed at this time, I can share with you now a timeline outlining the major investigative milestones. October 14th, 2005. A school administrator reported Melody's prolonged absence from school. Deputies responded to the family's residence in Lompoc, where her mother, Ashley Buzzard, was contacted. Melody was not at the residence, and Ashley provided no verifiable explanation for Melody's whereabouts. October 15th, 2025. Detectives served a search warrant at the Buzzard residence in the 500 block of Mars Avenue in the Lompoc area, looking for evidence pertaining to Melody's whereabouts. Subsequent to the search warrant, it was determined that Ashley had recently rented a car, and video surveillance images were obtained showing Ashley and Melody at the rental car office. Both of them.
I feel so bad for you, Heather. Sick as in like virus sick, or just I hope you feel better. Oh, you're so awesome. Thank you so much for coming in, Barbara. We love Barbara. Barbara's an amazing freaking person. Happy to see you too. I will do that. Take care of yourself too. If I don't see you, I hope you have a great New Year's. Barbara's an amazing freaking human being. You just vomit and then feel okay. What the hell is going on with you? Why is that? Why are you doing that? All right, let's go here. Always good to see Barbara here.
Wearing wigs in an apparent attempt to conceal their identity. These images were shared with the public on October the 22nd in an attempt to obtain additional information about their whereabouts. On October 24th, 2025, detectives shared an updated timeline and travel route with the public of Melody's last known movements along a multi-state round-trip travel route.
Okay, so route from Utah to California after Melody was last seen. So going this way here, all up and down here. This is just a strange case, man.
Route that included California, Nevada, Arizona, Utah, Wyoming, and Nebraska, with a return route including Kansas, Colorado, Utah, Arizona, Nevada, and then back to California.
Yeah, it could be. Just let us know what's going on with you. Have to talk to the doc. Yeah, for sure. I hope you feel better.
Detectives learned that along this trip, Ashley switched the license plates on the vehicle she had rented to a New York plate, and found out that she would back her vehicle into gas stations in an apparent attempt to avoid detection by their surveillance cameras. Melody was last seen on video surveillance with Ashley on the Colorado side of the Colorado-Utah border on Thursday, October 9th, 2025. And detectives now believe that Melody was murdered shortly after that stop.
Okay, hold on a second here.
That Melody was murdered shortly after that stop.
Hold on.
Utah border on Thursday, October 9th, 2025. And detectives now believe that Melody was murdered shortly after that stop.
So shortly after October 9th. What's today? Today's the 28th. So that's almost 2.5 months. It's almost 3 months.
On October the 30th, sheriff's detectives, along with the FBI evidence response team, responded and served follow-up search warrants at the home of Ashley Buzzard, as well as for a storage locker.
You better be okay. I don't know where Shibby is. Shibby, I think Shibby was doing a live. I don't know. He's probably tired.
That she had rented, and upon the car that she had recently rented as well. During the search of the Mars Avenue residence, an expended cartridge case was recovered. During the search of the vehicle, a live round of similar ammunition was located. Detectives submitted the expended cartridge case to the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives for inclusion in their national database called NIBIN, the National Integrated Ballistic Information.
Yeah, because they can get, once it crosses state lines, they can get, they have much more resources than they would if it was just California. Like once it crosses lines and once they have her in another state, it becomes a federal, they can get all the federal help they need, ATF, federal, FBI, marshals, all of that.
Information Network. December the 6th, 2025. Members of the Wayne County Sheriff's Office in Utah responded to a call from a man.
Congratulations on being a mod on Shibby's channel. Interstate Compact, yeah.
And a woman who were taking photos just off the 3300 block of East State Route 24 in a remote part of Wayne County, Utah. This couple had discovered the decomposed body of,
this is so horribly sad.
of a deceased person off of the side adjacent to West Caneville Road. On December 8th, 2025, a member of the Wayne County Sheriff's Office notified the Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Office of the discovery of the unidentified found body. Although immediate identification of the deceased person was not possible, it was apparent that the decedent was a female who had died from gunshot wounds to the head.
Oh, it just sucks so bad. Oh my God. It's like an assassination.
December 17th, 2025. The Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives examination of cartridge cases.
I think wherever the crime took place, that's where, I think it's wherever the crime took place.
Found at the Utah crime scene resulted in a NIBIN hit, linking them to the single cartridge case that was found at the Buzzard residence. On December 22nd, yesterday, the FBI Crime Lab notified our agency that DNA analysis had determined that the remains found in Utah were a familial DNA match to Ashley Buzzard. Today, December 23rd, 2025, members of the Santa Barbara Sheriff's Office and the FBI served search and arrest warrants at the Mars Avenue residence and arrested Ashley Lynn Buzzard for the murder of Melody Buzzard. Ashley was taken into custody without incident, and she was booked at the Northern Branch Jail for first-degree murder, where she is currently being held without bail. While these developments represent important steps towards holding Ashley Buzzard accountable for the murder of her daughter, they do not diminish the profound loss that we are acknowledging today. Because this case is now moving through the court system, there are limits on what additional detail we can share publicly at this time. At this point, I'm going to ask Lieutenant Chris Gottschall to recognize the personnel and agencies whose work in our region was instrumental in this investigation.
Thank you, Sheriff. Good afternoon. This case required an extraordinary level of coordination and commitment amongst all agencies. I want to specifically recognize the detectives who tirelessly worked from the very beginning, including lead detective Joe Oliver, Detective Ruben Esparza, Detective Matt Maxwell, Detective Cliff Kabasig, Detective Thomas Brownlee.
Oh, is Heather going to sleep? I hope you have a good night, Heather. I hope you feel better. Have a great New Year's if I don't see you, but I'm pretty sure I'll see you around somewhere. You're awesome. I hope you feel better. I hope you get some sleep too. Heather's an amazing freaking human being. Thanks for coming in, Heather. Appreciate it. I hope you're well.
And Sergeant Jeff McDonald, along with numerous investigators, sheriff's deputies, professional staff, and support personnel who contributed countless hours to this effort.
We love you too, Heather. Okay, that's fine.
I'd also like to acknowledge our allied agencies whose cooperation and assistance were essential to advancing this
So she was found unalived in Utah.
investigation across multiple jurisdictions. A special thanks to our Santa Maria resident agency of the FBI, Supervisory Senior Resident Agent Mike Rusev, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, the California Department.
Poor little kid. This is just it's so awful. I want to switch over to this one here. Hold on a second here. Let's do this.
No family should ever have to experience this kind of loss. And our hearts are with them today and will be with them in the difficult days ahead. We stand with them and we remain committed to securing justice for Melody.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Bob Evans. We're starting tonight with several pretty tough stories. She was murdered and her 9-year-old body was dumped in rural Utah. Tonight, Melody Buzzard's mother is sitting in jail in California without bail.
This was done 4 days ago. The Santa Barbara Sheriff's Office in California confirmed Tuesday that Melody Buzzard, a missing girl who was last seen near the Utah-Colorado border, was found unalived in a remote area of Utah. So she was found in Utah.
Suspected of killing her own daughter. Police believe this tragic story unfolded during a multi-state road trip in October. They traced the...
Hey, buddy, good to see Shibby in here. Hope you're well, buddy. Had turkey and fell asleep listening. Awesome. I'm really good at that. I'm really good at putting people to sleep. Just going over this Melody Buzzard thing here. So these are the states involved here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 states. So this is definitely FBI. This is involvement here. There's a multi-state jurisdiction here.
Mother and daughter's travels from where they live in Lompoc, California, through 6 states, including Utah. Ultimately, only one of them came home. The Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Office says the mother, Ashley Buzzard, went to great lengths not to get caught, using wigs and changing license plates on her rental car.
This level of criminal activity is particularly shocking given the calculated, cold-blooded, and criminally sophisticated premeditation and heartlessness that went into planning it, and the ruthlessness that went into actually committing the crime.
This case is still unfolding, and there is a lot of sorrow among those who knew and loved Melody Buzzard. Fox 13 News investigative reporter Nate Carlisle has been tracking this all day and joins us live in studio tonight. Nate.
Yeah, Bob, the announcement today ends more than 2 months of searching. The sheriff in California described how the disappearance, that's also a homicide, was solved, while Melody Buzzard's aunt described the rest of the family's reaction to the death and the arrest of Melody's mother, Ashley Buzzard.
It was absolutely gut-wrenching. I mean, just don't even really want to speak about it. It was just heartbreaking and devastating for the whole family.
Elizabeth Meza has been a public face.
So this here, this is a sister, right?
In the search for her niece, 9-year-old Melody Buzzard.
Justice will definitely be served for Melody. The sweet child deserves peace, and now she's free.
This level of criminal activity is particularly shocking.
Law enforcement in Santa Barbara County, California, arrested the girl's mother, Ashley Buzzard, early Tuesday on suspicion of murder. She is being held without bail. The sheriff there, Bill Brown, described the crime as, quote, cold-blooded.
December the 6th, 2025, members of the Wayne County Sheriff's Office in Utah responded to a call from a man and a woman who were taking photos. This couple had discovered the decomposed body of a deceased person. It was apparent.
Body found near here. So this is Wayne County. Yeah, this is no man's land here. 24.
Apparent that the decedent was a female who had died from gunshot wounds to the head.
Brown said bullet casings found at the Utah scene matched a casing found during a search of Ashley Buzzard's home.
On December 22nd, yesterday, the FBI crime lab notified our agency that DNA analysis had determined that the remains found in Utah were a familial DNA match to Ashley Buzzard.
Brown says he doesn't know a motive for the killing.
Okay, hold on a second here. Let me all right, so this is basically where we're at here. This is so this is kind of where she was found, is in here. And this, like I said, this is look at this. I mean, why would she? This is so weird, though. Why would she go way over here to do this? This is Route 24 here. So let me hold on a second here. Let's get some directions. Santa Barbara. Santa Barbara, California. This is 10 hours and 45 minutes. So it's almost 11 hours. Why would somebody drive all the way over here to get rid of a body, your dog? Why? I don't understand this. This is so weird. This is an 11-hour trip all the way out here to unalive your own daughter. Why not do it? I mean, right here in the Mojave Desert. I mean, this doesn't make any sense to me at all. You ran out of coffee cream. Oh. It's so weird. This is bizarre. All right, where the hell am I? Right here. Okay, hold on a second. Let's get back to this here. Oh, I got to tell you a story about what happened to me. Speaking of coffee cream, you ever heard of they have regular Doritos, and then they have the spicy hot Doritos, right? This has happened to me twice now in my life, and both times it's been really awful. So I went and I got some Doritos for myself when everybody was up at the hospital, and I had my dip ready and stuff like that, and went to go sit down to eat the Doritos and the dip and all that stuff, and they were spicy hot Doritos, and I was so freaking pissed because they come in the same bag. But one is completely different than the other. Nacho cheese Doritos, yeah, they're great, but the spicy hot ones are just absolutely horrible. All right, let's go.
Our investigation thus far has revealed that
I was pretty freaking livid.
at this time, we don't believe that anyone else was involved.
Meza, who spoke to our sister station in Santa Barbara, KSBY, said she...
And of course, it's like late at night, so it's not, the closest store from here that's open is got to be 20 minutes away, so it's not like I'm going to go out and do that. So, yeah, I was not happy.
Wants the public to remember how her niece lived.
Oh, it's so awful. This poor little kid. My God, it's terrible.
I said she wants the public to remember how her niece lived.
A sweet, loving child that had a beautiful smile and just loved, she had a sweet.
Yeah, I mean, if you like spicy hot ones, that's fine. But, they need to put the spicy hot ones in a completely different bag because they both look the same. The only difference is one has a little thing in the corner that says spicy hot ones. And then the other one just says regular nacho. So it's easy to do. Just put them in a completely different bag, in my opinion. This is just so terrible. This just makes you want to. It just makes you want to punch something. I got my punching bag over here. This is just ridiculous.
Personality,
Why?
so charismatic and happy.
Just like why?
We're waiting to hear specifics on what Ashley Buzzard will be charged with. Bob, the sheriff said the plan is to try her in California.
Nate, why California? I mean, especially since Melody was seen here in Utah and her body was found here. Her death may have occurred here.
The sheriff said the crime originated in California, but a sheriff is not a prosecutor. So we will see where the paperwork gets filed and if the defense wants to litigate the jurisdiction here. For that,
So she unalived her daughter in California and drove her 11 hours all the way to just outside of Caneville, Utah. To this whole thing doesn't. This is weird.
For that matter, since the case crossed state lines, we should watch to see if charges get filed in a state or federal court.
All right, Fox 13 News investigative reporter Nate Carlisle.
Yeah, that's right. They said Nacho Night. This is Nacho Night. I asked my kid who watches Stranger Things. Yeah, this is a strange. I like Cool Ranch too sometimes, but when you're in a mood for something and you really, really, and then all of a sudden find out it's not going to happen. Sounds like something else I know, but this contained chips and dip. I just don't understand why she would drive all the way that this case here is weird.
Joining us live in studio tonight. Nate, thanks so much. Continuing our team coverage tonight, Fox 13 News reporter Maithili Gubi went to Wayne.
See, we were just here. This is where we were just here outside of Caneville here on Route 24, and this is weird. Body found near here.
Wayne County today to the site where Melody Buzzard's body was found.
So we're here in Caneville, a remote part of Wayne County near Capitol Reef National Park. Here is a dirt road right off SR 24. This is West Caneville Road, which is where investigators found the body of 9-year-old Melody Buzzard. They say it was called in by two people who were taking pictures, who saw her body on the side of the road and called it in to authorities. The Wayne County Sheriff's Office did not go on camera with us, but released a statement explaining their involvement in this investigation. They knew about the missing girl investigation from California, but had no definitive evidence that Ashley and Melody were here in Wayne County at all. I spoke to...
So I take a little mild cheese sauce, right? You can pretty much do it at home if you had like some mild, or if you're home, you might as well just do sharp cheddar. Melt it down. So I use the mild cheddar cheese and then just sour cream, and I mix it, and it's awesome. But when you have spicy hot Doritos, it's not the same. It's just not.
Someone who was here about 2 weeks ago who said he remembered seeing flashing lights near the Sleepy Hollow campground close to this bridge. He didn't know what had happened and said that even in this small town, word did not get around about what that commotion was all about. We will continue to follow this story and bring you the latest developments as we get them.
It's impossible for me to have that kind of course in this house. Like, all the stars have to align to have all three of those ingredients in the house at the same time. So anyways, I really wasn't thinking about myself anyways, because that's when my daughter was up at the hospital. But this is just a crazy case. This case here is I do want to play one more thing here, because I want to play, hold on 1 second, give me a couple seconds to find this. I want to play her arrest. Hold on a second. Okay, so here it is. This is a day ago. Hold on 1 second here. Let me play this one here. So this is I'm kind of trying to do chronologically in order here of what happened in the last couple of weeks, but here's she pled not guilty. Let's do this one here.
The mother of Melody Buzzard made her first court appearance today, pleading not guilty.
All right, so here we go. This is Ashley Buzzard pleads not guilty to unaliving charge, and this is coming from Banfield, I think. Ashley Buzzard pleaded not guilty to murder in connection with the death of her daughter, Melody. Buzzard appeared in court and waived her right to a speedy preliminary hearing, so she won't be getting a speedy trial here. With the next court date set for January 7th, I'll have to keep that in mind there. January 7th, 2026, so a couple of weeks from now. Melody Buzzard was reported missing in October, and her body was discovered in Utah in December. So here we go.
To murder charges in the death of her daughter. Today's arraignment comes after a body found earlier this month in Utah was confirmed to be 9-year-old Melody. She had been missing for about 2 months after she went on a road trip with her mother, Ashley.
Yeah, Doritos don't last long in anybody's house. Like, if there's a bag of Doritos in here, the fact if they make it one day, that's amazing. That would be amazing. This poor kid. This is just so. Ugh.
Ashley returned home. Melanie did not, and Ashley did not cooperate with the investigation into her daughter's disappearance. News Nation's Nancy Liu is live outside of the court.
I still think this is some sort of a mental illness type thing with the mom. I think the mom was trying, it could be kind of like a Lori Daybell type thing, or, maybe she's got some sort of, issue, or this just doesn't seem normal here.
Courthouse where Ashley Buzzard went before a judge, Nancy.
Yeah, Nicole, just came out of the courthouse, and it was quite a dramatic arraignment because that not guilty plea was entered. And Nicole, there was an audible gasp in the courtroom because in there was paternal grandmother Lily Dennis, as well as Melody's half sister, who is an older child
Okay, so that's a half sister.
of Ashley Buzzard's. So there, one of the court officers that had to, call for order in the court because of that audible gasp. We do know now that the preliminary hearing for Ashley Buzzard
That's Winnie the Pooh. It's a Pooh doll.
next in this case will be January 7th, and she's going to remain in custody on no bail. Now, the charges she faces include first-degree murder as well as discharge of a.
Okay, so here, this is what I wanted to see. This is the road trip begins October 7th, right? The sighting at Colorado border. So sighting, so October 9th. So shortly after October 9th, that's when the body was found. Or the body, they believe the body was, she was deceased. So Melody added to welfare and missing person report the 14th. Updated time and travel routes. Unidentified body found near Caneville, Utah. So this is when they found, but December 6th is when they found her. So this is where the Cartridge case was linked. Ashley Buzzard arrested for the murder. So that was a couple days ago. She switched places on October 8th. So Ashley returns to home, basically California, on the 10th. Search warrant at Mars Ave residence on the 15th. And that's when the warrant Cartridge case was recovered. This is the second search warrant. Wayne County notifies Santa Barbara Sheriff's Office of the identified body on the 8th. So this is the analysis determines that they did familial DNA on this, that it's matched to Ashley Buzzard. So there you go. So that's the timelines there.
Firearm causing death, and there is a special circumstance of lying in wait. There you see video from inside Ashley Buzzard's home. I obtained this from a source. This was right after her arrest and after law enforcement had cleared the scene. You can see how.
Yeah, I know she's had issues before. That's why I'm surprised that they didn't. I don't know. To me, this seems like another one of those missed opportunities for DCYF or whatever. But I mean, this is just sad. It's awful.
How disheveled her house was. A gag order has been imposed in this case. The Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Office is ordered not to release any further information about this case. They held a news conference just earlier this week, right after Buzzard's arrest on Tuesday, revealing a lot of details about the evidence that they've been collecting over the last 2 months since Melody was reported missing back in October. And according to the Sheriff's Department, the evidence include cartridge cases, some that were found in Utah near the scene of where Melody's body was discovered in a very remote area of Wayne County. And according to the sheriff, that matches a live round, which was in the rental car that.
Yeah, that cartridge and that casing are going to be pivotal here. That's the forensics that they need.
Ashley Buzzard had rented in order to go on that mysterious road trip with Melody on October, from early October until October 10th, when she returned to Lompoc without Melody. And according to the sheriff's timeline, they believe that Melody was shot and killed on or around October 9th. Also in court today, Nicole, Tyler Brewer. He's the one who had accused Ashley Buzzard of false imprisonment. Those charges were eventually dropped, but he said he was here to support the family. But again, quite a dramatic moment in court when that not guilty plea was entered. There was an audible gasp. The preliminary hearing, which is set for January 7th, Nicole, notably, that is also the same date of the next court date for Nick Reiner in the murder of Rob and Michelle Reiner in Brentwood. So quite a date coming up, January 7th, with two major.
I'll have to cover that on the 7th, the preliminary, unless it gets pushed forward or who knows.
Court cases, as well as that is the anniversary of the Palisades and Eaton fires as well.
Yeah, so a
Nicole?
lot will be happening there in Southern California on the 7th. All right, Nancy Liu with the very latest in this case. Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe.
All right, so I'll keep an eye on that. I just wanted to play that because it's just a sad case. It's just so horribly sad. Nobody knows why. I have a feeling it's probably got to do with some sort of a mental issue going on with the mom. Doesn't make it right. It's just sad. It's just very, very sad. All right, so next thing we're gonna do here is go over the missing of the week here. And we've done a couple of different missing reports on this guy here, Keith Mann. Was Keith Mann the victim of foul play? That's the question now. Keith Mann was 20 years old when he vanished May of 1977 in Wichita Falls, Texas. Nearly 30 years later, his family investigators still searching for answers behind the disappearance. They take a closer look at the strange circumstances surrounding his case, including a mysterious meeting with possible sightings throughout the year. So we did, not too long ago, we did an update on him, and then I've done way back, I think it was last year, the year before that, I did, a deep dive into this guy here.
Appearance of Keith Mann. Keith was 20 years old when he vanished in May of 1997.
It's so good to be back. It's so good to see you guys. So good to see Mustang. So good to see Nicole, Paula. You guys are all awesome. You make it worth being here. Miranda, Hebby, Shibby, Doms. You guys are all awesome. If it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be here.
Parents, even some investigators.
So it's your fault. Just kidding.
Frozen in time, thinking back to the last day he was seen. News Nation's Marnie Hughes takes a look at the strange circumstances surrounding his disappearance, from a mysterious meeting, finding Keith's car, and possible sightings throughout the years.
Oh, there's a lot of questions I have. There's a lot of questions I want answered. I want to, know some things, and it's just very tough. I'm not going to give up until I find him, one way or the other.
Greg and Deborah Mann have been looking for their son Keith for 28 years.
He was about 2 years old when we married back in 1980. And he was just a sweet little boy that, just typical, loved to play ball, any kind of ball, sports.
Keith had his whole life ahead of him. In May of 1997, just 20 years old, he had a new job at an auto dealership, a fiancée, Carrie, and plans for a future. May 10th, 1997 was a pleasant Saturday in Wichita Falls, Texas.
He worked a full shift. He sold 2 cars that day. He was even scheduled to deliver one of those vehicles on Monday. So he had a commission check coming to him. He spent the day at work, and then he went out with friends that night. And him and his friends kind of went out and grabbed some burgers at a fast food restaurant, and then they stopped by a gas station. And one of his friends was also a coworker from the dealership, and they had a vehicle, and they went riding around in that vehicle until they took Keith to his apartment.
Keith's friends say they dropped him off at his new place at the Fountain Gate Apartments.
They went out that night and claimed they dropped him off. Saw him when he dropped him off, they saw him walk up half flight of stairs and left. They never saw him go into the apartment.
Unindicted's here. Good to see you. Thank you, Miranda. You're awesome. Thank you to Unindicted too. Thanks for all the awesome words of encouragement there. Always good to see you here. Glad I didn't nap too long. Well, stick around. I'm notorious for putting people to sleep. Always good to see you here for sure.
Apartment.
Keith had told his friends that he had to get back home to meet someone.
He'd been dropped off by friends. He was supposedly meeting someone later on that evening. It was, late at night. But that was it. There was no activity on his checking account. There was no run on any kind of credit cards. He just literally vanished.
The next morning was Mother's Day. Keith and his fiancee, Carrie, had planned.
Yeah, I did, it was last spring. I did, as part of the missing, and then, I did there was another update on this a few months ago, I think, and then this is coming out here. So, this one may be getting close too.
To visit Greg and Deborah to celebrate the day. Greg and Deborah noticed the loaner red Mustang Keith had been driving was parked next door in the church parking lot. With no word from Keith, they checked out the car.
As you got up on the car, you could see the trunk was popped. So opened the lid to the trunk, and it was clean. There was nothing inside the trunk, but there was a panel that was pushed out on the left-hand side, like someone had got something out of there.
The hours ticked by.
See this thing right here? That the showing right here, this is going to be a problem.
Still no word from Keith. By Monday morning, Greg filed a missing persons report with police.
We always knew where he was going and where he was at. This is the only time nothing, just like he fell off the face of the earth. It didn't take any clothes with him. He had checks coming to him at his workplace. I know my son, he'd won his money. Something happened to him.
A salesman from the dealership was called.
No, I'm pretty sure this was foul play. I said that back then too. But they must have, so this is new, that detective believes Keith Mann was a victim of foul play. So we'll have to see.
To pick up the car.
When he got there, he was telling people, he's like, well, I didn't have to adjust the seat this time. And
it could be, I'll have to find the one I did, the deep dive I did on this, in this case here.
Usually when I get in the car after Keith, I always have to adjust the seat because, Keith was only like 5'7", and this guy is like, close to 6 foot.
Questions arose as to whether Keith had driven the car to that church parking lot. There were searches and investigations, but very little to go on. Police have continued the search over the years, but the mystery remains.
On times past, there was always the hope held out that we would find.
It could be a drug deal. It could be something else.
Find Keith, if something had just occurred, maybe some kind of.
And he could have just taken off too. I mean, that's still in the cards, I think.
Mental crisis that we were unaware of or undiagnosed, and that he just wandered off and we'd find him. But I think as I've worked on the case and reviewed the previous investigators' case work that they did, we're to the point now that we do suspect that foul play was involved.
There have been.
I mean, the long and short of it is people actually do disappear. People go missing all the time voluntarily. People take off sometimes. Nobody knows why. There was just a case a few weeks ago that I was looking into. I think it's in my feed somewhere. They just found somebody that went missing 30 years ago, and they went missing voluntarily. They just didn't want to be, whether it was because of a domestic thing or they just didn't want to have to deal with it. People do go missing all the time, and an adult has every right to go missing. But I forget the statistic. I think it's a very, I think it's a very, it's a statistic that needs to be examined a little bit more for it to be kind of like anything factual. But Most people go missing return, I think, within like 28 to 48 hours. So, who knows?
And sightings, someone who looked like Keith in Mexico, another at a homeless encampment, but they weren't Keith. The case still unsolved. Greg and Deborah sort through rumors.
Most of the rumors involve being buried under concrete.
Yeah.
So there's several locations that they're, have looked into.
I mean, if I had to guess in this case here, I'd probably say, 60, 40, 60% foul play, 40%, just taken off. But, that's just based on reality, like a reality thing. It's,
dug up one place and eliminated that one. But that just is the common theme around town.
Yep, my brother ran away twice. And he went to the same place twice. It happens.
Find possibilities with no answers after
I go disappearing in this house every time I get yelled at. So he's 5'6", 160 pounds. I'll pull up the story on this guy here in a second.
28 years.
And I know they probably get tired of me calling, but that's my son, and I want to know where he's at. I've been looking for him since he disappeared. I look for him. He's my son.
Yes, I can show that I'm okay and all that, but deep down inside, I'm not. I want to know where my son is, and I want to know what happened to him.
If you have any information that can help in the search for Keith Mann, contact police at the Wichita Falls Police Department at 940-7.
So, Gregory Keith Mann Jr. was dropped off by friends at Fountain Gate Apartments, where he lived in Wichita Falls, Texas. Keith has not been seen or heard from since that night. At the time he went missing, Keith was wearing blue jeans, an ivory-colored pullover, beige baseball cap, and brown lace-up boots. It is believed that he has been a victim of foul play. This is coming from the FBI, so there's not going to be a lot of information on here. Last date contacted 5/10/1997. 5'6", short light brown hair. Of course, that's probably changed now. 160 pounds. And that's coming from the FBI. But his first name is Gregory, and I believe his middle name is Keith. So he must have changed his name around a little bit. And he's junior. They got an age. Hold on a second here. Let me share this. And they got this is the age progression here. This is what he looked like back in 1997. This is what he would look at now. And I can try to probably download this here, but this is coming from. That's what he would look like at 1997, and this is what he would look like around the age of now. So. That's it. All right, so hold on a second here. I'll play the rest of this, and then we're going to move on to the next case here.
761-7917. And if you have a missing case you think we should look into, we want to hear about it. Go to newsnationnow.com, click on our missing tab to submit a form, and also sign up for the weekly missing newsletter for updates on other cases we're investigating. Scan the QR code on your screen.
Thank you. Okay, so that's the end of that. I'll keep if you want to know more about this case here, Keith Mann, I'll try to find the one I did when I deep dove that case there. All right, so let's move on to this here. Well, I got literal proof, had an attachment. I needed to, because my mother drives me nuts. If I didn't have a daughter, I'd go missing into the mountains and investigate cryptid stuff in the Appalachian Mountains. There you go. All right, so let's go to this guy here. This guy here is another piece of absolute dog shit. I hate this guy more than anything, but he's been arrested. So that's kind of good news. All right, so this came out 9 days ago, and I really wanted to go live with this here. Former South Carolina pastor John Paul J.P. Miller has been indicted by a federal grand jury on charges of cyberstalking and making a false statement following the unaliving of his unestranged wife, or of his estranged wife, Micah Miller. Weber sits down with an attorney representing Micah's family to unpack the specific counts as well as what punishment Miller could face if he's convicted. So here we go. They finally got this guy on something. Let's hope it sticks. Here we go. If you guys don't know about this case, the Micah Miller case, she was found unalived, I believe, in North Carolina. And they believe that this was voluntarily done by her. But this guy was a pastor down in South Carolina, right around Myrtle Beach, and he's an absolute douchebag. So here we go.
Heart doesn't have any unforgiveness, bitterness, resentment, just forgiveness and hope for the future and peace. Because you can't put a price on peace.
We have breaking news. It is the moment that many in the Myrtle.
This poor woman here sold a bill of goods by probably the most despicable human being that could ever live on the planet, and she paid dearly from emotional abuse, probably a little bit of physical abuse, but her husband is nothing but a piece of dog shit. That's just my opinion.
Beach area of South Carolina have been waiting for. Controversial former pastor John Paul J.P. Miller has been indicted by a federal grand jury. Now, Miller made headlines after his wife Micah, who filed for divorce, ended her own life. But since then, rumors.
What a waste. Just such a waste. This is definitely like a reminder of like the Brian Walsh case. I mean, this woman she's a beautiful woman. She just is. It just sucks. It just to be mixed up with this piece of crap, you know.
Speculation, they have all been rampant, and now Miller finds
this guy groomed this woman at a very young age. He's just a scumbag.
Himself in some very serious legal jeopardy. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. All right, look, I got to say this real quick.
It truly is. He groomed her. He, I literally probably get shut down for this, but I can't stand this guy. I can't. He's just, what are you going to do?
Track from what we're saying, but it is the holiday season. You might be looking for a perfect deal on a perfect gift. I got to mention this. The chef car. These are just some of the allegations that are laid out against John Paul J.P. Miller by federal leak nudes, a tracker on a car. These are just some of the allegations that are laid out against John Paul J.P. Miller by federal prosecutors out in South Carolina. A brand new indictment comes nearly 2 years after Miller was thrust into the spotlight in connection.
It's been 2 years. Really?
With his wife's death. We've talked about this before. Micah Miller took her own life on April 27th, 2024. This was 2 days after serving Miller with divorce papers. Miller himself, a pastor, delivered the news to the congregation at Solid Rock Church in Myrtle Beach at the end of a sermon, and this shocked everyone.
I got a call late last night. My wife has passed away. And it was self-induced, and it was up in North Carolina. And she wasn't, y'all knew that she wasn't well mentally. And then
a fucking asshole. Who would say that to a group of people?
She needed her medicine that was hard to get to her.
Almost immediately after people heard that news, rumors started flying that Miller could have had something to do with Micah dying. Now, to be clear, authorities have said there was no direct evidence saying that he killed her or was responsible for her death, because at first there was speculation that Miller might have been directly involved. There was rumors about staging a homicide to look like something else. But to be clear, a medical examiner confirmed that Micah's death, this tragedy, was a fatal.
Twice. They confirmed it twice. They did they did another one. I think they did two, actually.
Fatal gunshot wound was self-inflicted. But then something else happened. As word spread that Miller may have been allegedly abusive, there were accusations from Micah's family and the community that Miller had Micah under his thumb, refused to let her go, that she reportedly became more isolated, which, by the way, she seemingly addressed in a Facebook video.
Hey, everybody. I just want to let you know that I'm alive and well, and life's been kind of crazy the couple past weeks, months, years. But
this woman here never had a chance. She never had a chance. She was groomed really young to be associated with this guy or somebody like him. And he took complete advantage of her when she was, when she was beginning to be a problem. He just basically turned the switch on her. And I consider that to be murder too, just my opinion.
I've kind of had to keep my circle really small for the past couple weeks, just because I'm going through a lot and it's hard and it's my cross to bear.
It's like
the thing that God has.
It's like the Hotel California, right? You can check out, but you can never leave. That's the situation these people find themselves in. They just can't, and when you try to leave, that's when all the problems start.
Is put in my life to deal with, and I don't want to bring a lot of people into it.
It's a control thing, and then when you can't be controlled anymore, this is just a sick individual, a sick person, a sick. I hate the guy. I hate him. Can't stand him.
And just a couple months before her body was found at a state park, Micah Miller made a call to 911 telling the dispatcher that Miller had assaulted her.
Exactly, especially if, you go through it like this woman here, you're talking about like 11, 12, 13, she started to get groomed, probably even earlier than that. So she doesn't know anything else. I mean, she's just being groomed. She's being bamboozled. She's being taught a specific way and never really has much of a life. It's a control thing. It's just definitely a control thing. And this guy here is part of the problem.
911, what's the address of the emergency?
Hi, I have somebody who I believe to be in a manic state and is a direct danger to the people in his household and himself and others. I need an immediate pickup, not the 72-hour pickup that a spouse can initiate. I need this to be a little quicker because he is a flight risk. There's been domestic violence. He put his hands on me, and he's pushed me down in front of thousands of people at Disney World. And so, yeah, and his best friend even saw that happen. Slapped drinks right out of my hand.
Okay.
I was in the hospital after that from just a panic attack of what was happening.
So with it looking more and more like Micah was living in an allegedly abusive relationship, many in the community, they called for authorities to get involved and determine whether Miller had any culpability in Micah's death in some way. Now, meanwhile, according to multiple online reports, Miller seemed to be moving on, and pretty quickly. He was reportedly seen on a date with a woman named Susie Skinner just days after Micah's death. According to Miller's first wife, Miller and Skinner, they were allegedly having an affair in 2021, the same year that Skinner's wheelchair-bound husband drowned. It's a really odd thing that two people who had a relationship are suddenly both single because of the deaths of their spouses. But to be clear, authorities have never said there is any evidence to suggest these deaths are anything than what they seem. I will tell you, Miller and Skinner, They got married this past summer. So now I want to go back to November 1st of last year. You know why? Because that is when the FBI searched Miller's home. They were reportedly seen removing items from his house, but what exactly was taken into evidence or why Miller was under investigation, that wasn't clear. During all of this, Miller was having to contend also with protesters outside of his home and church calling for justice for Micah. And after the FBI raid, tensions boiled over, and Miller was ultimately arrested for getting into an altercation with a woman in a parking lot. Authorities were called out, and according to an incident report, the woman that Miller got apparently into this altercation with told police, quote, while she was on the sidewalk in front of Solid Rock Church, she observed the offender recording them from behind protesters' vehicles in the parking lot. She then went across the street to confront him. She stated she called out to the offender to ask what he was doing. The offender walked away, but she called back out to him, and the offender came back and met her in between two vehicles where words were exchanged, and the victim said the offender began recording her. While the offender was holding the phone up to her face, the victim said the offender asked her, "What you gonna do?" and tapped the bill of her hat 2 times and walked away.
She stated she called out to the offender to ask what he was doing. The offender walked away, but she called back out to him, and the offender comes back and met her in between two vehicles where words were exchanged. Remember this?
After which the victim yelled at the offender, "Don't you touch me," multiple times. So Miller was later arrested. He was charged with 3rd-degree assault and battery. He was released on bond the following day. And as we started digging into Miller, and as we started looking more into his prior legal issues, we learned a lot of information from a request that Micah filed with Surfside Beach Magistrate Court on March 11th. And this is where she was seeking.
One of the greatest places you could ever go in your life is Surfside Beach, South Carolina, Myrtle Beach, just east of Conway. It's one of the greatest beaches in the world. We're there all the time. It's so wonderful. We're hoping to go back next June to spend a couple of weeks at the beach, and I just cannot freaking wait.
Seeking a restraining order. She alleged that Miller was stalking her, doing things like putting a tracker on her car, spamming her phone with calls and text messages. The court proceedings ended up being dismissed and no restraining order was ever actually issued. But in light of what he's now charged with, you got to wonder, are authorities believing everything she was saying? Because I will tell you, those allegations right now are in black and white in federal court records. A grand jury returned a bill of indictment, the United States of America.
It is nice.
versus John Paul Miller. To talk more about this, the allegations, I want to welcome back on Regina Ward, an attorney for Micah's family. Thank you so much for taking the time. Before we even go through the indictment here, this is major news for anybody who's been following this story. We know the family has been waiting for some sort of accountability for years. How are they feeling right now, given the fact that he has been indicted?
Yes, it's been like kind of felt like everyone else. When is the day coming? And so the wheels of justice tend to turn a little slow, but that's okay. I'm happy with methodical justice, and I'm glad we're here.
As the lawyer in me, I do have to say, look, he is innocent until proven guilty. The prosecution will have the burden of proving all of this. But have you learned any more on your end about the FBI investigation, what has been going on behind the scenes? Because this has taken some time since the news first broke that his property was being searched to now the indictment. Do you know anything that's been going on behind the scenes that you can share with us?
Right. I wouldn't have any direct personal knowledge. I did in the beginning, obviously, whenever the subpoena was served upon me for my documents and things that the FBI wanted when they were beginning their investigation. Once that ball got rolling and they were, they had everything that I had, then they executed that search warrant, which I'm sure added a lot to it. As far as what was going on behind the scenes, I can only imagine by virtue of this indictment, they've been doing their job and getting the evidence and everything together to be able to pull this indictment off.
Let's talk about the indictment. I want to go through it because, and as we go through it, so everybody knows, Micah is referred to victim 1 here. So there are 2 counts. Count 1, cyber stalking. Here's what the filing says. The grand jury charges that beginning on or around November 16, 2022, and continuing through on or about April 27th, 2024 in the District of South Carolina and elsewhere, the defendant, John Paul Miller, with the intent to kill, injure, harass, intimidate, or place under surveillance with the intent to kill, injure, harass, intimidate victim 1, used interactive computer services to engage in a course of conduct that placed victim 1 in reasonable fear of death or serious bodily injury and attempted to cause, and the course of conduct would be reasonably expected to cause victim 1 substantial emotional distress, to wit, John Paul Miller sent or caused to be sent unwanted and harassing electronic communications to victim 1, used or threatened to use nude photos and photographs of victim 1 to harass victim 1, posted a nude photograph of victim 1 online without victim 1's consent, placed or caused to be placed tracking.
What a piece of shit, right? Sent or caused to be sent unwanted and harassing electronic communications to victim 1. This guy is just a piece of dog crap.
Devices on vehicles used by victim 1, place victim 1 or cause victim 1 to be placed under surveillance with the intent to harass and intimidate victim 1, damage victim 1's vehicle, interfered with victim 1's finances and banking, and interfered with victim 1's daily activities. There's a whole lot to unpack there, but Regina, first, I think it's notable that these were allegations we had heard before, but federal prosecutors believe they have the evidence to substantiate this.
Yes, as I stated before with the subpoena, the things that Micah kept and put together in preparation for her hearing in family court, all of those things were turned over, and it had to do with specifically the nude photo that's being referred to. Also, the tracking device and the evidence that we had of that tracking device, the police reports that were made that support the damage to her vehicle and the slashing of her tires. There's supporting evidence for all of that was collected by Micah herself.
And if you talk about the nude photos or the videos of Micah that Miller allegedly put online, we've actually heard about this before. News Nation reported last year that Miller had apparently written a letter to Micah, seemingly apologizing, seemingly admitting to doing just that. Quote, "I'm sorry for putting a picture of you on the internet. It was for less than 1 hour."
That's a confession right there. I mean, I'm sorry for putting a picture of you on the internet. That's a confession right there.
And immediately taken down. "I was hurt that you were telling everyone horrible, intimate details of my past sin, and I just wanted to try and hurt you. Please."
See, immediately comes back to him. I was hurt that you are telling everyone, because he's more worried about himself and being the pastor of the church, that he doesn't even care about her. "I was hurt that you were telling everyone horrible, intimate details of my past sin." What a fucking asshole.
Please forgive me. It was evil of me to do that. Now, Regina, revenge porn is more common than maybe most people probably realize. It is also a crime. Talk to me about that. Talk to me about this letter, because
it better be a crime. You're saying it like it better be a crime. I mean, if there isn't a crime, that should be a crime. Period.
I think it's significant.
Yes, in fact, that letter was written. He's tried to explain away that letter that she required him to write it, and he made up all of these things because she was saying all these things. But she had independent evidence of these allegations that she kept. Also, in addition to that, her journals and the writings that she put together. So as far as when you speak of like revenge porn, I don't even like to call it that, because really it was intent. The intent of the photo was for a private photo to be shared between a husband and wife, and certainly not to be shared. And Micah was very clear in that. She even made a police report about it, complaining that he was threatening to upload it and that sort of thing.
And when you talk about the evidence, because Micah had previously told police that she found a tracking device on her car, she thought that she was being filmed. They thought she was being surveilled, that Miller was messing with her finances and possessions like her car, and this, sort of alleged escalating.
What a baby. This guy is such a little baby. He's just
behavior. But there had to be something else that investigators found, some sort of evidence, maybe when they conducted search warrants, right? When they seized certain materials, apparently, that would corroborate this. I mean, do you have any idea what sort of evidence might investigators have to back up those claims of the surveillance?
Yeah, absolutely. That was one thing whenever they executed that search warrant. I actually was there when the FBI was doing that, and I was watching some of the things that you could see that was coming out. Most of it was in paper bags and boxes and things like that. But there was obviously a computer that was taken out of that house. And so when I saw that, I immediately thought, yes, that's definitely going to have some material on it that would corroborate Micah's the allegations that Micah had been making. And I would assume that that is exactly what had happened, especially with the mention of the purchase of the tracker. There would have been evidence of him purchasing that whenever he's the one who said he never, or excuse me, the
guy is literally a fraud. He's just a fraud. It's just,
the things that this slashing of the tires, he denied that, and it sounds like they found some evidence to corroborate that allegation.
And I want to highlight this part of count one. It's very crucial, with the intent to kill, injure, harass, intimidate.
so this is the grand jury charges here. The beginning on around November 16th. I gotta download this. Continuing through on or about April 27th, 2024, District of South Carolina and elsewhere, the defendant John Paul Miller, with the intent to unalive, injure, harass, intimidate. This is serious shit here.
So prosecutors seem to be alleging that there was intention behind what Miller allegedly did, that he was deliberately trying to hurt her in some way. People might read this, Regina, and say, wait a minute, is this a roundabout way of accusing Miller of causing Micah's death, not directly killing her? Do you think there's anything to that, or are we looking too far into it? Because, there were a lot of thoughts about whether or not he was responsible for her death in any way. And there was no evidence to suggest that he, was directly involved in what happened to her. But there were those who would make.
Well, we'll never know now, because I said at the time they should have taken a toxicology report on her, because he could have been adjusting her medications to drive her to, because there's certain things you can do. She was on medications, and there's certain things you can do to mix certain medications to make people a little bit more crazy. So it's possible, but they didn't do a I don't think they did a toxicology. I think he had her cremated.
Make the claim, he drove her to what happened. He was responsible. Do you think that this is a roundabout way for prosecutors to make that point, or am I looking at it the wrong way?
Well, no, of course I can't get into the minds or surmise what a prosecutor is thinking, but I also know that, there are attorneys and they like to win, lawyers like to win their cases. And so basically whenever they pull this cyber stalking count, there are what we call elements of law that are associated with any type of crime that's being charged against someone. And those words are actually part of it. I know that some people will extrapolate that and say, oh my goodness, this proves he was trying to, to take her life. We have to read beyond that and also know that it also, not only that it was also that he intended to injure her, harass her, intimidate her, the things that we talk about in coercive control abuse. This is exhausting to read the indictment, because it's not even everything that she experienced, but it's a lot of it. And just going through that demonstrates how this time.
All I know is that he had her cremated. So I don't know if they took a toxicology report or not on that. But there's certain things you can do with medications that don't usually show up on, initial things. You hear about these things all the time. And if a person like her, she probably had some sort of depression or anxiety to begin with. So if she was on, some sort of medication, he could have been trying to mess with the medication or something like that to get her to get more panicky, so to speak.
Type of, mental abuse can wear a person down and just, really get into their self-confidence and things like that. So I don't think it's a roundabout way. I like that it's directly on.
I mean, you can get your hands on any medication that you want. And if you mix that medication that you get with another medication that causes a person to kind of go off the edge mentally, and they don't do a toxicology report, how are they going to know?
Point with regard to the type of harassment and abuse that she suffered, allegedly at his hands.
And then you have this other
Yeah, but I don't think they did. They don't. I don't think they did an autopsy because it was considered to be um, voluntary unaliving. So they. I don't think they did an autopsy.
This other charge, making a false statement to law enforcement. Quote, the grand jury further charges he falsely claimed victim one had been calling him more than he called victim one on March 11, 2024, when in fact the defendant, John Paul Miller, called victim one at least 50 times more than she called him. He falsely claimed police had never told him to stop contacting victim one, when in fact the defendant, John Paul Miller, was told on March 11, 2024 by a police
horrible. This guy lying like a
police officer to stop contacting victim one. He falsely claimed he did not damage victim one's tires or cause to be damaged, when in fact the defendant, John Paul Miller, used or caused to be used a tire deflation device in victim one's tires. So Regina, give us more context about what that's about, him allegedly lying to law enforcement about his relationship and activities with Micah.
Yeah, well, sure. That's, part of the classic tactics is to, deny, lie, deny, obfuscate type of thing. So the interesting thing here is, as you mentioned earlier, victim one is referring to Micah. Well, with regard to the false statement, the victim there is the United States of America. That's the state who is prosecuting that. That is a victim that's that can offer up corroborating evidence, and so there's some concern by some who have looked at this that because Micah will not be able to testify against Mr. Miller in a court of law, that it's going to be a little bit more difficult on that charge. While I think that they've got a lot of good evidence there, of course, when you have that testimony is probably the most solid. But with regard to the false statements, the victim is the prosecuting authority, is the United States, is the people.
Yeah, I caught that too. Tire deflation device.
And so that's going to be a charge that probably has a pretty good bit of, good standing.
Right. And let me say this is,
I honestly hope he gets run over by a bus. I literally
well, digital records, the digital trail, so critical to any investigation. I spoke earlier about Miller's relationship with his former wife, Susie Skinner. There were allegations of infidelity. We all, are wondering, and by the way, Skinner has never been investigated or charged in connection with Micah's death. You do wonder if she'll play a role in this in some way. But here's something that's interesting. It's our understanding from the federal court docket that Miller was not taken into or will not be taken into custody. He was issued a summons. He has to report to the courthouse. The docket indicates that he's set to be arraigned on January 12th. If Miller is found guilty, do you know what sort of punishment he could face? And no matter what the outcome is, the fact that now he has been indicted, does this affect?
If it wasn't for a backspace button on a keyboard, I probably wouldn't be able to be online or type anything. I'm probably backspacing more than I am actually typing.
Micah's family, their ability to file a civil claim against Miller.
Okay, so a few things there with regard to the, the penalty if he's found guilty. With regard to the cyber stalking, I think it's up to 5 years in prison. Of course, that's the max. As far as the false statement, I apologize, I don't know what that is off the top of my head. And in terms of, will he do time? Well, we certainly hope so, but I'm also a criminal defense attorney, and I know that there are ways to, negotiate cases and things like that and look for weaknesses and loopholes in cases. So I'm sure that his lawyer will, do his job as the defense attorney. As far as him not being, picked up and he was just received a summons, well, it was not uncommon knowledge to know that he was represented by a criminal defense attorney. And it's not unusual for criminal defense attorneys to say, hey, I know that you may have a warrant for my client. Can we organize where they can voluntarily turn themselves in? So that's was something that his lawyer obviously was working for him. Yeah, so with regard to the civil claim, that was actually handled early on in the case, and there was a confidential settlement regarding that. So that was already addressed very early on in the case.
All right.
So that's the end of that. I'll keep an eye on this here. I just feel terrible about what happened to her. It's just don't ever get involved in somebody that you know is a literal piece of crap. That's all I can really say. She didn't have a choice. I mean, she was groomed very young, and unfortunately, she paid dearly for it. All right, so let's go. This is the last one I'm going to talk about tonight. This happened a couple of weeks ago here. Now I'm just getting to it here. Final suspect identified in a 1983 KFC unalivings. Years ago, you can look this case up here, but it was pretty gruesome. So let's go here. Charles would probably know about this case too. But anyways, here we go.
Update to a crime that shook the North Texas region more than 40 years ago. We're talking about the infamous Kentucky Fried Chicken murders. After decades of investigation, law enforcement has finally identified the last person involved. The case centers in Kilgore and Rusk County, about 2 hours east of Dallas. NBC5's Alana Quillen joins us live with how investigators cracked this cold case and what it means for the community. Alana.
Yeah, unfortunately, the final suspect had died years before being identified, so no arrests can even be made. But this revelation finally puts things to rest for the investigators and the families who were affected. This case, known as the KFC murders, has haunted East Texas since September 1983.
Yeah, it's been talked about a lot more in the recent year than it has been in probably like 15 to 20 years, but I'm kind of up to date on this case here, but it's been a while.
That's when the bodies of 5 victims ranging in ages from 19 to 30.
This is back when KFC didn't have any. I remember KFC years and years and years ago, back in the early 80s, even up to the late 80s, I think you could just order food there. You couldn't sit down. They didn't have any, at least around here, they didn't. It was basically a takeout restaurant. You couldn't sit there and eat. But now you can. There's huge Kentucky Fried Chicken places where you can go and actually eat inside the restaurant. Back in these days here, you just picked up the Kentucky Fried Chicken and took it in a bucket, and that was it.
39 were discovered on a remote oil site in Rusk County. All of them were shot in the back of the head, and one woman was sexually assaulted. Police say they all had been kidnapped.
So I may go down to, I may cover that case next week. There's just too much other stuff to cover tonight. I may go down to the storage area where the actual event took place down there in Salem. So I'll try to do that this week at some point, and then I'll go over the Brown University thing probably next Saturday. When is New Year's? Because I may do an extra live this week since I cheated everybody out of the last couple of weeks. But as soon as I know if I'm going to be doing an extra live this week, I will let you guys know. But there's a possibility I may do an extra one since, yeah.
During a robbery at the KFC chicken restaurant in Kilgore the night before. Now, 2 men were convicted in the mid-2000s thanks to DNA evidence, but one's
Old enough to remember this from North Louisiana. Kilgore was where my sister went to choke. Yeah, these cases here, this is the thing with these cases, they go silent for a while, and then all of a sudden there's nothing but the case, you know. Yeah, I love KFC too. It used to be a lot better than it is now. Like, we've gone to Kentucky Fried Chicken a few times in the last year, and it's been terrible. But the olden style restaurants back in the late 80s, early 90s were fantastic.
sample did not match either suspect, pointing to a third person involved. With new DNA technology in the last few years, Texas Rangers reopened the case under.
So New Year's Eve is Wednesday. Thank you, Paula. So I might go live Wednesday night, early Thursday morning. I'm not 100% sure, but if I decide to, I will. It'll probably be right around the same time as I usually go live but I feel like I cheated all of you guys for not doing a live for 2 weeks. So 2023 case reopened by Texas Rangers. They'll usually find everybody advanced DNA testing. Devon Riggs identified. Riggs died 10 years ago. Fantastic.
A federal program that funds advanced DNA testing. It eventually led them to Devon Riggs, a man who died more than a decade ago. Still, this means DPS has closed the case. Now, I spoke to a local newspaper reporter who covered this case for 30 years. She says the last living suspect has declined to speak on why it happened, but the closure, she says, is important.
This case has just kind of hung over East Texas as, you know, not being solved for so long. And so it's relief. I think the closure is good. We know who all did it, but there will always be questions.
How these people that loved this person that died have been impacted by this case, and to be able to show that closure and what that means to them, that's amazing.
Now, that's a forensics professor there with UT Arlington's criminology department who knows cold cases all too well. Her own
Thank you, Paula.
students recently solved a 1991 cold case murder in Arlington. She says finding closure for these cold cases shows the power of persistence and technology in solving these decades.
And money, because it all comes down to money. The only way they get these cases solved is if they have money to do the testing and money to do, the man hours to get the evidence, all of that stuff. A lot of it has to do with money.
Old crimes. So again, while no arrest will be made, Texas Rangers said they really hope the closure in the KFC murders case brings peace to the victims' families and the community there in East Texas. In the newsroom, Alana Quillen, NBC5.
Like I said, I was gonna come on last Saturday night, early Sunday morning and do my live, but I wouldn't have been able to concentrate, so that was on me. But so we'll see. Maybe I'll do Wednesday night into Thursday night, New Year's Eve. It'll be after all of the New Year's Eve stuff there, so we'll see. I'll let you guys know. But again, I just want to thank everybody who's sent along well wishes and stuff like that for my daughter. I really appreciate it. You guys are amazing, and I appreciate it 100%. It means the world to me. So Paula, thank you so much. I'm going to get out of here now. And like I said, if I do the live Wednesday night, I'll let you guys know before that. Mustang, you're awesome. Thank you so much for everything you do. Thanks for all your kind words. Hope you have a great New Year's if I don't see you. Hope you had a great Christmas. Unindicted co-conspirator, thank you so much for all you did too. Thank you. I appreciate it. Awesome people here. Dom, you're awesome. Thank you so much for all everybody, all the kind words. At some point, my wife Heather's gonna do something too. Nicole, you've been awesome. Thank you so much. It's good to see you. Good to see all you guys. I know you guys probably have a lot of better things to do. Shibby was in here. Thank you, Shibby, for coming in. Thank you. Hebby was in here. I hope Hebby feels better. Heather's amazing. Miranda Lee was in here. Miranda Lee's awesome. Let's see here. Becky was in here. I know Becky was in here. Tracy's amazing. Thank you, Tracy, so much for everything that you do too. I know that Carol was in here. Carol's amazing too. You guys are all amazing. I hope that Dee Dee's doing well. I hope she's okay. Dino was in here. Dino's an awesome guy. To everybody, you guys are all great. Let's see here. Big Fish was in here. Big Fish is always great. Barbara Hall. We love Miss Barbara. Miss Barbara's an amazing person. Dieter was in here. Dieter's great. Thank you, Dieter, for coming in. Appreciate it. Also, to everybody on the replay, everybody, Jocelyn's great too. Jocelyn was amazing. Luis Cuevas, everybody who's sent the well wishes. Thank you so much for that. And like I said, if I come on and do another live this week, I'll let you guys know. Let's see. All right, everybody on the replay, thank you very much to who she went live once. Dee Dee. See you all on the YouTube streets. That's too funny. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure I'll see you guys all anyways on either Shibby's chat or somebody else. Happy New Year to you too, Mustang. Happy New Year to everybody. All right, so I'm going to get out of here. I hope everybody does well. Have a great week. Whatever you do, don't die. I'll see you guys later. Let me play my outro and get the hell out of here. Hold on 1 second here. All right, I'll see you guys later. Have a great week and take care. Thank you all.